Inflation and economic downturn don't have to impact your business with the right partner. Now until September 30th, Turnkey is offering the first and last month of services at no cost. That's right. Sign on with Turnkey for any of their IT or business solutions, and your first and last months are free. You'll save hundreds or even thousands. With decades of C-suite experience from their consulting team to over 25 years of managed IT services, Turnkey knows small business. They know how to reduce your costs, grow new revenue streams, and more without having to hire on-site professionals. There's still time to make an impact in the second half of the year. Let Turnkey show you how. Turnkey is Chicago's small business champion. Visit turnkey.pro and start a conversation today.
That's turnkey.pro.
A storm is on the horizon, and you need to keep the lights on no matter what. Your business relies on the power being on 24/7. It's the lifeblood of your data and computer systems. Weather-related outages from the power company are not acceptable. Your need for a source of power that's reliable 24/7, along with round-the-clock service that can dispatch technicians to your site immediately, is mission critical. Your business needs Charles Equipment Energy Systems on speed dial. These are the big boys, not residential or solar, but reliable industrial generators for emergency backup or events. When you need more than a 100-foot extension cord plugged into a small engine generator, call Charles Equipment Energy Systems. They keep the lights on with rental generators for job sites or power outages. A storm is on the horizon. Plan ahead. Call now to prepare generators for storms and potential power outages. Call 630-834-6000, 630-834-6000, or charlesequipment.com.
This decade is looking like the worst one to retire or be retired in. For more than 30 years, Bob Carlson's Retirement Watch has been helping Americans invest, protect, and grow their assets. Subscribe to Retirement Watch and you'll get 3 months of Bob Carlson's Retirement Watch newsletter, 5 model portfolios, 5 free reports covering issues like estate planning and annuities to help you protect your money from the government and grow your nest egg, all for just $19.95. Sign up today at yourretirementwatch.com, yourretirementwatch.com.
When you're in the market to buy or sell a home, commercial property, or even vacant land, let attorney Susan J. Kim step in. She's reliable, responsive, personable, and extremely thorough when helping you deal with an otherwise stressful transaction. Attorney Kim leads with her values and is committed to providing legal services with excellence. To contact Attorney Kim, visit sjkimlaw.com. That's sjkimlaw.com. Whether it's drafting agreements, negotiating contract terms, or closing on a property, Attorney Susan J. Kim can do it all. Over 10 years of experience and her wealth of knowledge tackling complicated legal negotiations and breaking them down into a smooth, easy-to-understand process is what she does best. So let Attorney Susan J. Kim step in. To schedule your legal consultation today, visit sjkimlaw.com. That's sjkimlaw.com or call 847-906-3166. Susan J. Kim Attorney at Law is a state of Illinois licensed real estate attorney.
Portions of the following show may be pre-recorded.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Health Quest Radio with Dr. David Kolbaba. Saturday mornings at 11. Visit healthquestradio.com.
Listen to AM 560 The Answer online at 560theanswer.com, on the AM 560 mobile app, on your Alexa-powered smart speaker, and on TuneIn, iHeart, and on Odyssey. Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560 The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. So BLM Brandon opined on the departure of your buddy Arwady. Allison Arwady, the public health director, dispatched from her position earlier in this week, as we discussed. And Brandon Johnson, BLM Brandon, as we know him, was asked about it at Presser. And, of course, he quoted Tupac.
No, he did not.
To explain.
What?
Transition is difficult for everyone, but as already been articulated, I don't know how many times you're allowed to quote Tupac in a press conference, but you can't always go by the things that you hear, right? Real eyes, right? Realize and Real Lies. That's also Tupac Shakur.
Okay.
Oh.
Nothing from Biggie?
Nothing from what?
From Biggie?
Biggie Smalls, yeah.
Realize. Powerful words from the mayor of the city of Chicago. What they mean and how they relate to Allison Arwadi's termination, I have no idea.
He is out of honestly, between this and him saying, well, I don't know if you know, people, I'm popular now. As if he's never been chosen to join a team in gym class or something. Because this is what this really was. It was payback because Dr. Arwadi wanted the CTU to get off their butts and get back into school.
After she wanted the schools locked down. Let's not forget that little piece of it.
Well,
she just wanted the lockdown to last a little, for a shorter period of time, slightly shorter period of time than CTU. So let's not delude ourselves that there's any white hats in this story.
At these press conferences, I'm telling you, she did not mind that Catholic schools decided to open. She didn't bash them. She said, well, that's their decision. They're taking precautions.
She supported the school lockdown. You're not going to rewrite history. She supported the school lockdown. Was there any public pushback from her for the school lockdowns? Did she say, I don't know what Mayor Lightfoot is doing?
She said,
I don't know what Mayor Lightfoot is doing. The schools shouldn't be locked down. The schools should stay open. She was opposed to school lockdowns.
I'm telling you that Mayor Lightfoot's daughter went back to school September 11th of 2020, and there was no pushback on that whatsoever. Mayor Lightfoot's hands were tied because the CTU wouldn't go back. And then they even had a work stoppage.
Yeah.
After,
Mayor Lightfoot's hands were tied because who's in charge of the school system?
The CTU is. The union runs this town.
No. That's not right.
Okay. Well,
the mayor appoints a school board that governs the school. Do I have that right?
No, you do have that.
So then the mayor is de facto in charge of the school system, and that's always been the case, and it remains the case. If you want to cede your authority to somebody else, that's a different conversation. You have the authority, you abdicate it. That is not having it. That is relinquishing it. Locked down the schools. That's what happened.
Okay,
she was party to it.
All right. Well, this is what he said the other day when Marion Ahern asked him at the press conference, did you fire her because this was payback?
Was this payback from the CTU leadership because Dr. Arwadi wanted schools to open during COVID?
Every single administration has to be prepared for transition. And my administration is no different in that regard.
Did CTU push him in this decision? I don't know. And frankly, I don't want to know.
Whatever. The CTU needs to push him. Does Marion Ahern not know how the city works? Does she not know how this works? Does she not know how Brandon Johnson and the CTU work? CTU needs to push him. He is CTU. I need the high sign from Stacey Davis Gates. I'm part of it.
312-642-5600. Turnkey.pro answer line 64636. Type in DA, then a quick comment.
This is why, this again, installment number 47 million of why the city is such a wreck, why we're in the same doom loop that San Francisco is. I'm not talking about BLM Brandon and Allison Arwadi. I'm talking about people who otherwise know better, who pretend not to know better. That wasn't this person's fault. Are they in charge? Yeah. No. This person told that. I'm sorry. This person told that person that you have to do this. Wait a second. That person told the other person. They're the same people. They're in this together. They need to be finger tapped on the shoulder. Hey, psst. Fire Allison Arwadi.
I'm not denying that it wasn't a hot mess, Dan. But Dr. Arwadi, she had a 7-year-old nephew. She brought him in who talked about how hard it was not being in school. She was trying to get them to go back. The whole country was back at school. And right. Even Mary Mass.
She was trying once she had other people providing the leadership. She didn't provide leadership. She was trying once she looked around and said, everybody else is going back to school. We should probably go back to school. That's not leadership. Did she ever say the school lockdowns were wrong? Did she talk about the cost benefit of locking down the schools versus doing something like Ron DeSantis did in Florida? I mean, she was right there with Triple Threat, her fellow Rona buster.
Oh, it's her personal doctor, too. Yeah.
Wonderful. She was right there with Triple Threat, the two Rona busters, laying it on thick against DeSantis, against Kemp, human experimentation, all of the overheated and fallacious rhetoric. She was party to it. So this is why all this, palace intrigue about which Marxist fired which Marxist for what reason, who cares?
Hey, it was the honor of her lifetime being the head of the Chicago Department of Public Health.
I want Chicagoans to know that I have loved being in this role. It has been such an honor for me, really the honor of my life.
Yeah, well, the feeling's not mutual. So, save your hagiography for NBC5 News, because that is not floating here. No chance. That's not the least ridiculous thing, by the way, you heard from a politician over the last couple of days.
The Tupac thing?
BLM Brandon is, positively timely, positively current with his Tupac reference. I mean, and he's so street, isn't he?
Was he a street hip-hop rapist with Alderman Vasquez?
Jelly Belly at the State Fair.
Oh, boy.
Sort of buried the lead yesterday when we talked about his, the Republican bull jive comment.
Oh, yeah, the Trump's a liar and all that. And he was trying to be relevant,
No, that wasn't it. This is where he tries to be relevant.
Okay.
We are Barbie when everyone else is just Ken.
What?
Yeah. We're a beacon lighting the path for national success. We are Barbie when everyone else is just Ken. Your governor, the Jelly Belly, the butter cow in Springfield. Mm-hmm. And he also had this to say about MAGA Republicans, as they're known.
Illinois Democrats have done more in the last 5 years to push back on the wave of authoritarian, anti-democratic, MAGA Republican nonsense than in any other place in the country.
Authoritarian nonsense. The law, quote, is both stupid and very likely unconstitutional, unquote. Federal Judge Ian Johnston wrote in an August 4th order granting a preliminary injunction. It's stupid because its own supporter admitted it was unneeded. That would be Attorney General Raoul on behalf of the butter cow. And had no evidence supporting its claims of deception. It's likely unconstitutional because it's a blatant example of government taking the side of whose speech is sanctionable and whose speech is immunized. That's federal Judge Ian Johnston writing about Governor Pritzker's law targeting pregnancy care centers in Illinois. Unconstitutional, stupid, unneeded. And I'm sorry, who is off on authoritarian gambits? The same individual who, and individuals collectively, all in attendance, the supermajorities in the General Assembly, who, because the Safety Act was challenged and ruled unconstitutional, and he had to appeal it to the Supreme Court, where he's got a favorable distribution of
judges.
Of judges.
I mean, he paid for two of them to get on there.
So they passed a law that says you can only challenge a state law in the company counties of Cook and Sangamon. Is that an authoritarian gambit? To cut out judges in the other 100 counties in the state as it pertains to the constitutionality and applicability of state law that does govern all 102 counties? shall I go on about the authoritarian gamuts? I mean, I understand this is classic projection on his side, but let's just go ahead and look at the record amid all of the hyped rhetoric that's dutifully amplified by the Chicago and Springfield press corps, those press corps in those counties, about don't say gay and book bans and what they're doing and what they're not doing, and this isn't happening and this won't happen, whether it comes to the output of K through 12 education or it comes to public safety on the streets of major and mid-major cities in particular, or the lack thereof in those places.
Got a text message, Amy. It's Dr. Awadi, not Dr. Awardi. So that's what they took out of this conversation we just had.
Yeah, that's a bit pedantic.
Yeah.
Her name is spelled Awardy, right? Is that Arwadi? Awardi? You want to have a phonetics off at 5:38? No, I don't think so.
All right, coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Catting saves lives, 5:38.
Okay, but now let's head into the newsroom. Here is Mike Scott.
5:32, 70 degrees, and 111 are now confirmed dead in what has become the deadliest wildfire in modern U.S. history.
We're going to continue to limit access in the impact zone for now because there is, again, like I said earlier, some toxins that we worry about, and we're going to rapidly go through that area.
Hawaii Governor Josh Green, President Biden, and First Lady Jill Biden set to visit on Monday. The Georgia District Attorney prosecuting former President Trump is proposing the trial begin March 4th. Here's our Mark Mayfield.
In a court filing Wednesday, Fulton County District Attorney Fannie Willis proposed March 4th as the start date for the trial. Trump and 18 co-defendants were indicted by a grand jury earlier this week on charges related to alleged attempts to overturn Georgia's 2020 election results. The proposed date is just one day before Super Tuesday primary day for the GOP presidential nomination. It's also 3 weeks before the scheduled start date of his criminal trial in New York for alleged hush money payments paid to former porn star Stormy Daniels before the 2016 presidential election. I'm Mark Mayfield.
The family of Tyree Nichols has issued a response after the city of Memphis filed a motion to dismiss a lawsuit connected to his death. Nichols died following a beating by Memphis police officers. The city had filed a motion to dismiss the suit against the city, the police chief, and a former officer. The White House will not confirm comments attributed to an American soldier who crossed into North Korea last month. State-run media in North Korea confirmed Travis King crossed into the territory and claimed he did so to flee abuse and racism in the U.S. military. Federal appeals court is upholding parts of a major decision limiting access to a widely used abortion pill. Judges on the Fifth Circuit sided with a Texas judge and agreed the FDA did not follow proper procedures when it loosened access to the dangerous pill combination. The pill will not be available through the mail, but may remain on the market for now. Authorities are searching for the suspects who robbed an armored vehicle at an ATM in Lansing. It happened at the Chase Bank on Torrance Avenue. They verbally demanded money from the ATM servicer with guns displayed. No word on how much money they took. University of Chicago Medicine is stepping up security after a fight broke out in the emergency room over the weekend. Officials say more than a dozen people went inside the medical center Sunday night as shooting victims were being treated. There was a brawl, prompting a lockdown, and 3 emergency department employees and 1 other person were hurt. The PGA field in the suburbs for one final event before the Tour Championships. Golfers teeing off today from Olympia Fields for the BMW Championship. Cubs earn a split in their critical series with the White Sox following a 4-3 walk-off victory at Wrigley, powered by a 9th-inning walk-off home run by Christopher Morel. And the U.S. women's national soccer team is in search of a new head coach. Vlatko Anadovsky stepped down as manager yesterday following that team's early boot from the World Cup. The news service of Salem Surround. You can go to surroundchicago.com to surround your target audience and drive action. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Make sure that you never miss a day of Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson when you subscribe to the Chicago's Morning Answer podcast, presented by Signature Bank. Listen to the entire show each day on demand with limited commercial breaks. You can subscribe today for free at 560theanswer.com and click on podcasts or search for Chicago's Morning Answer on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, or wherever you listen to podcasts.
Hey everybody, Charlie Kirk here. Freedom Square is an unbelievable service designed to unite freedom-loving Americans. I know these guys. They love their country and they're doing an amazing job. You can log on now to create your free personalized dashboard. All of your favorite news sites, podcasters, all on one site, all at your fingertips. Sign up your business right now at freedomsquare.com and start connecting with freedom-loving Americans. Look, people want businesses they can support. You want to know the good guys from the bad guys. That's freedomsquare.com. Log on right now and create your personalized dashboard. Join us in the fight, so check it out. freedomsquare.com. Freedom lives here.
Let's welcome our new Freedom Square Business Network members. Marquardt Buick GMC Barrington, Law Office of Stephen Leahy, McCann Insurance Services, and Builder Supply Outlet. It's time to unite and vote with your dollars. Download the Freedom Square app and register your business right now at freedomsquare.com and start connecting with patriots. Freedom Square. Freedom lives here.
Starting August 22nd, the U.S. dollar may have new competition from a new global supercurrency backed by Russia and China. And if the dollar plummets, your retirement could follow. Hi, Stephen K. Bannon. I recommend a gold IRA from Birch Gold Group. To learn more, get a free info kit on gold by texting the word SHELTER to 989898. I encourage you to act before August 22nd. Text SHELTER to 989898 to get your free information kit on gold now.
This is Dennis Prager. Sign up today for an unforgettable experience in Israel this October. Mike Gallagher and I are traveling to the Holy Land on the Stand with Israel tour with our trusted partner, Inspiration Cruises and Tours. This trip of a lifetime to Israel is one you don't want to miss. Register today before it's too late at standwithisraeltour.com, standwithisraeltour.com, or call 855-565-5519. 855-565-5519.
1 in 4 car batteries is weak and needs to be replaced. Let the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts test your battery for free. Stop by O'Reilly Auto Parts today.
5:38. Let's get an update on the roads. Team Hochberg Traffic Center time is a service of Ingrace with Pastor Jim Scudder Jr., now heard Sunday morning at 6:30 on AM 560. How about the inbound Kennedy? We'll start there. It's jammed up between Foster and Montrose. Eisenhower now inbound, starting to jam up. 26-390 into the old post office. You are slow through the avenues. I-57 inbound slows up as you head into the Ryan Merge, 111th all the way into Halstead. Due to an earlier accident, you've got slow traffic on the outbound side between Halstead and 99. Reagan Memorial jams up eastbound between York and the Tri-State. Skokie, a vehicle fire gumming up Dempster at Lockwood Avenue. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next. AM 560 Weather Center forecast. Watch out for heavy thunderstorms. Right now drifting down from Wisconsin, crossing over top of near Rockford right now, heading toward the Marengo area. We'll keep our eyes on that. And watch out for slow travel during the morning commute. High 78. And a clear and comfortable cool night coming up with a low of 58. 70 right now. Next news coming up at 6. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
Listen to AM 560 The Answer online at 560theanswer.com, on the AM 560 mobile app, on your Alexa-powered smart speaker, and on TuneIn, iHeart, and on Odyssey. Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson.
Yeah. Tupac.
Yeah, I'm always more of a Biggie guy. So another thing where BLM Brandon and I disagree. But anyway, we'll get back to that later. Caddying saves lives. First round of the BMW today at Olympia Fields. And the story from the PGA Tour about a caddy at Olympia Fields named Diego Origel, who started caddying at Olympia when he was 12. Now he's an Evans Scholar.
Good.
It's a nice story. The only thing I would say, this is PGAtour.com. They alternatively call Olympia Fields Olympic Fields and Olympia Fields.
I didn't do it.
Yeah.
I know it's called Olympia Field.
Maybe get a copy editor over there at the PGAtour.com site. But anyway, it's the typical, he's caddied when it's hot out and stuff, like trying to make this more melodramatic than it is. But it is a good story.
Did they bring up climate change?
They did not.
Okay,
that was good.
Thank you.
Win
for us.
So Diego is not only he's been caddying, he's also worked as an assistant to the caddy master and the locker room attendant, this guy named Jim Salvatore. And it is a good story. He went from not knowing anything about golf when he showed up at 12 to being part of the inaugural class, Evans Scholar class at UIC. It's sending him to college. Evans Scholarship's great program. I didn't get it.
I'm sorry. You're still bitter?
Yeah, I am actually.
Do you really think you're going to get it?
I should have gotten it.
Oh, okay. Wait, no. Let's dig a little deeper.
Well, it is. No, I mean, it
what
was.
Does your resume say?
Well, I mean, I caddied for 10 years at Chicago Golf. I was caddy of the year. I was rookie of the year.
There's you hand out rookie caddy
awards?
awards?
They did at Chicago Golf, and caddy of the year 3 times.
Caddy of the year. Okay, so that rookie of the year caddy, and then caddy of the year 3 times.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
Now, when you become caddy of the year, do you get a plaque or a trophy or a certificate of some sort?
There's a statue. It's smaller, right next to me, right next to McDonald, the course designer at Chicago Golf, just outside the pro shop. It's much smaller, so you really have to look for it.
But your name is engraved on a plaque or on a
yeah.
statue.
No, there's no statue, but yeah, yeah.
All right.
If it's still up in the pro shop, I don't know. Yeah.
It should be.
Yeah. I mean, it's been so long ago now. They probably have.
Now I'm getting pissed.
Replace.
Who beat you out?
It's not about that.
I'll go bust some onions, huh?
It wasn't about that. It's about like the at least at the time. I don't know the details of the application now, but there was a like a financial need requirement, or that was part of the consideration. And I mean, we were like a very middle income family.
Right. And you're going to Northwestern. Northwestern was expensive. It's always been expensive.
But I didn't realize that, people manipulate like what their real household income is for some people do for the purposes of these applications. And I don't think my parents realized that either. And so we were just honest, and that's why.
That's why you didn't get it.
So it's another. That's why I'm like got a little bit of an edge when it comes to like people in the middle. Like, I mean, back in that day, it was probably people making like 30 to 70. Now it's people making 60 to 120. People in the middle get squeezed by both sides.
Yeah.
There's got a little bit of an edge about that.
Do you think they properly vet the financial records that they submit?
Yeah, I know. I mean, I'm not, but I just there's so much like there's a lot of clout involved in this. I know there's been people who like they're caddy. I just know this. I'm not going to get into names, and this is not sour grapes. And I want to tell Diego's story, not mine. But
no, I like this better.
But I mean, there are people at clubs in Chicago who've gotten the Evans Scholarship who barely caddied, but they have the right sort of clout coming from the right club. And
you dedicated 10 years you were a caddy?
It's fine because it was a great job growing up. I wouldn't change anything. I think I'm a huge proponent of the Evans Scholarship program. I'm a huge proponent of caddying. And this is why we're talking about this topic, is because I am. And I know you're a huge proponent of taking caddies, so that's similar. And so, I don't want to get, but I'm just saying, with everything, there's always going to be, human beings are involved. So there's always going to be conniving and manipulation and people being slighted who shouldn't have been and people being rewarded who shouldn't have been. That's just how life works. I get it now, but I was a little.
All right. Well, thanks for doing a decade of your life. Good for you. And you caddied for Michael Jordan, didn't you?
I did caddy for Jordan.
Okay.
I got to get. I mean, it was that's part of the benefits. It wasn't like that was like I sacrificed. It was like I got to caddy for Michael Jordan. I got to caddy for, Stan Mikita and Doug Wilson and Savard and all the Hawks of that era and the previous one, talking about Stan Mikita. And was also a great golfer, as people know, PGA professional after his playing career. So, you get to caddy. And also, too, it's just this is part of the story, is you're around adult men.
Right, who are leaders in their community, leaders in their profession.
And also some of them are jagoffs.
Yeah.
And so then you get to see like the great distribution of the good, the bad, and the ugly. Right. And it's like people with a lot of money and have a lot of success who couldn't be more down to earth and have humility about it. And then there's the opposite end of that spectrum, people who are nice to kids and trying to, if you make a mistake, they try to help correct a mistake. And then there are people that get upset and try to blame you because they hit a bad shot. So you just run the gamut. There are people that tip well and the people that don't. And then you get the backstory and all the members and their stories, both in terms of the success and the family. I mean, you just learn so much about life. The human condition. Yeah. And so, to be like a 13-year-old kid caddying for the CEO of Amoco at the time, Larry Fuller, who was a very nice guy, pretty good player too. And you don't appreciate it. It's like having a great teacher. You don't really appreciate how good the teacher was when you have him or her, when you're in their class. But then you look back on it 5 or 10 or 15 years later and say, boy, that really made a difference. Yeah. And so it's sort of the same thing.
312-642-5600, turnkey.pro, answer line 64636. Type in DA, then a quick comment.
All right, now back to Diego, because he's more interesting than I am. And this literally caddying.
People are calling in with their caddying.
Well, yeah, call in with your caddy stories, absolutely. Or if you're like Amy's friends, call in with the stories you've enjoyed of having a caddy serve you. And then for, regular grunts, call in with your stories of actually caddying for people like Amy.
I just can't believe people would yell at you if they had a bad shot as if it was your fault.
No, but like you make a mistake, you walk in somebody's line or you move when somebody's hitting. I can understand that, and you should be corrected. Because it makes you a better caddy. Yeah, and you also, too, it's just like being around adults. You learn, when to shut up, and you learn how much you don't know. And also you overhear a conversation like, oh, I wonder, what are they talking about? I want to try and figure out what they're talking about, or that's interesting. And so I think it's a great job for young people. I really do. I don't think there's a better job. Any of the clubs in Chicagoland, just about. I think it's a great job, and in and around the country for that matter. So caddying, saving lives. Back to our friend Diego here. He just bought his first car in 2018, only had a learner's permit, so his father drove him to Olympia Fields. And I didn't know this story. Rainy day, he was wearing a polo and shorts, wasn't really dressed for the elements. There weren't many cars in the parking lot when he got to the course. I told my dad, I was like, Dad, I think today's the day to go home. And he told me, no, you have to go to work. Go and at least try to get something. So Diego actually did get a bag that day, and when the group stopped at the halfway house, caddy master Jim Salvatore came out in a cart. He told Diego to get in, and they drove back to the clubhouse because someone ran a red light and plowed into the passenger side of his father's car while he was driving, Octavio Sr. He was being airlifted to a local medical center. And a detective at the scene told Diego that if he had been in the car, he would have been
killed.
Likely,
I'm sure.
He would have been smashed into his dad's shoulder, likely killing them both. And so Diego says, that's where I say caddying saved my life.
Oh, I see.
That's yeah. But it's also too. His dad said, this is about putting in the work. You go get a job. Not every day is going to be sunshine and Daisy.
Rainbows and unicorns.
Yeah, daisies. You go out there and do. This is interesting too. It shows you the work ethic of this family and Dad's influence on Diego. So his dad was placed in a controlled coma for more than a month after the accident. When he finally woke up, the first thing Diego remembers his father saying, "I'm late for work."
Oh.
And he had to be restrained from getting out of bed to get to work. It's awesome. He's apparently his dad's okay, but he's a little worse for the wear. He still works at the steel mill that he always worked at, but he can no longer operate a crane, and he's got some challenges, but they work it out as a family anyway. Diego says of caddying, "It changed my life forever, and I'd say maybe my parents even more. It was definitely an achievement for myself. It's a goal that I put out there for myself 9 years ago when I first learned about caddying, getting the Evans Scholarship. I always woke up and it was, let's work toward that Evans Scholarship today. I definitely saw that hard work does pay off when I did receive it." So good story. And at the Pro-Am this week, I think you got to caddy for Scheffler.
Good.
Which is
Have you met
awesome.
Diego yet?
Yeah, I know Diego.
You know? Okay.
Yeah, he's a great kid.
Good.
Mm-hmm.
Where's he going to college? Do we know?
UIC. He's the inaugural class. I didn't even know UIC had an Evans Scholarship program because they didn't. Evans Scholars House, but they didn't, but they do now. He's the inaugural class at UIC.
Good.
Chris and Carrie, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
I take this time to do a little hometown brag. One of our students at the Cary Grove High School, female, won that scholarship, and she's taking it to the University of Illinois for a full ride. Pretty impressive.
Yeah, excellent. Very good. Thanks for the
huge.
call. By the way, I mean Diego's he's at UIC.
He's at UIC.
Yeah,
right.
I mean
okay.
he's an Evans Scholar attending UIC now. I think he's a sophomore or junior. Ken in Plainfield.
Yeah, two things. First of all, the financials. I have 9 brothers and sisters. 4 of them got Evans Scholars just because of the size of our family. They all went to Purdue and got good educations out of it.
Mm-hmm.
Me being the family black sheep, I didn't even try because I've always hated school, which is why at 60 years old I'm driving a truck. But the other thing is, the question for all caddies is, what did you think of Caddyshack? Because we sat down and watched that movie, and we could identify with every member in there, including Rodney Dangerfield, for someone in there, and the caddy master with the, pick up that Kleenex thing. Just thought that movie was spot on, but of course the Murray brothers caddy too.
Yeah, they did.
They based the movie off of their experience.
Thanks for the call, Ken. Well, and the great one of the great stories that comes out of Caddyshack, the great lessons. Now, this is for the members: is you be careful how you treat caddies, because you could get havercamped. I've told you this story before. Mr. Haverkamp, remember? That's a peach-on, the 2 doddering old people in Caddyshack that are hitting the ball in the water and they're out to lunch. So Haverkamp, real member at Indian Hill, where the Murrays caddied, and good golfer. Not an old duffer.
All right.
He may have been a club champion, I can't remember, but he was a good player, as I understand it. Lived right on the course. And he was immortalized by the Murray brothers. So he obviously did something wrong to the Murray brothers.
Right.
And they chose to immortalize him as an old duffer when he wasn't. And I understand it that he was none too happy about his portrayal in Caddyshack. So be careful, be careful as a caddy, but be careful as a member too. Chet and Lyle, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. First of all, Dan, ditto everything you said about caddies, especially the deviation of people you met. I caddied at Butler. For years.
All right. That's heavy fuel right here. Okay, we got a Butler story.
And it was not only just meeting the guys and it seems like the guys who were wealthier were the nicer guys.
Yeah.
That was I saw. And the people who had no money, who had lesser money, I should say, were the kind of the tools. But anyhow, even I caddied in 2 Westerns there, and my brother, 8 years.
Rubbing it in. Greg Norman. I won't bore everyone again with how Greg Norman screwed me from caddying out. Yeah. But anyway, go ahead. Who'd you caddy for in the Western? What pro?
Lee Elder first year, Arnold Palmer second.
Oh, nice.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's impressive.
Lee Elder and who?
Arnold Palmer.
Are you serious?
Oh, you know that guy?
I've talked before. Yes, I'm the guy. We've talked before.
Is he a lovely man?
I tried to erase it from my memory.
Sorry.
Lee Elder and Arnold Palmer. And oh my gosh! Wow.
I offered Dan. I've offered to caddy for you for charity too, but you never called.
All right. Well, hold on for. I'm going to make. So Chet can add me to Lee Elder and Arnold Palmer. Make sure we get his number. I'm going to put him on hold so he can, when he tells his story, he can throw me in with Elder and Palmer. All right.
But the one thing I want to share is 8 years later, my brother caddied in Western, and I went back, and I hadn't been there in several years. And the club pro and stuff, they were so welcoming. And because I asked them if I could just walk with my brother around the course to kind of get him set up for it. And the pro staff there were so welcoming, so nice to say, hey, just stay out of the way of the players. Great to see you again. And so you built those relationships as well. And I think that's an emphasis I want to make to what you had said earlier. That's all I have.
Absolutely. All right. Thanks for the call, Chad. We're putting him on hold so I can get his number.
Yes.
So he can caddy for me.
Okay.
Palmer, Elder, and Proft. 3 names you never thought you'd hear in the same sentence. Well, one in particular. Bill and Waukegan.
Hey, good morning, Dan and Amy. Just wanted to say that I caddied at River Forest Country Club. I did 2 Western Opens as well, and I tell you,
everybody got to caddy in the Western Open except me.
Sorry, Dan.
Yeah, but what it taught me was that work ethic. You know, my mom was the one that woke me up at 5:30 to get there on time, and I tell you, it's still some of the greatest memories I ever have. So,
all right, wait, hold on a second, Bill. So, who did you caddy for Tiger and Phil? Who'd you caddy for in the Western?
No, the Western I caddied for Weisskopf one time, and then Bob Eastwood.
Oh,
Weisskopf, that's good. I mean, that's a good.
Yep, and Bob Eastwood. Yeah, and nice. it was the greatest. You just feel like you're part of something bigger, and it's like, and like the gentleman said before me, it just gives you a feeling of being welcomed and being appreciated, and just like you said, it teaches you how to interact with adults and stay out of their line. And I tell you, it's still one of the greatest memories I have. So thanks for taking my call.
Thanks for the call, Bill. When I wash out of radio, which could be any moment, I'm going to go back to caddying. That's my default.
Well, you got to make it. You got to caddy for a pro.
I have caddy for pros, just not in the Western Open.
Oh, sorry.
George in Naperville.
Too soon?
Yeah, Dan, I wanted to ask you what the best advice you ever got when you were caddying and the biggest tip you ever got.
Biggest tip, I think Jordan gave me $100, which was a lot of money back then, especially when as an honor, I think I was making $20 a round. So that's pretty good. And I think John Mahaffey did too, who is a tour pro.
He gave you $100?
I think so. What did Crenshaw give me?
What did Greg Norman stiff you? I don't remember. I know
he didn't stiff me. He bitched about local clubs being able to send their caddies, a couple caddies from the local clubs to caddy for the pros at Butler in the Western. And so then the next year, which was the year I was going to go from Chicago Golf, the next year they said, okay, well, no more rakes from these clubs around here. It's just their standard tour caddies.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Still hurts.
It really does.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
We'll still take calls if people want to offer their empathy in my direction for not getting the Evans, for not being able to caddy in the Western Open. I know it's a very sad story. But we'll move on to more important matters as well, including updating the situation with the Trump indictments, thinking about all 4 of them, not just the latest in Fulton County, 606.
And here's how to handle the woke mob. We'll explain, but now let's head into that newsroom. Mike, did you ever caddy?
I did not, but I played 3 holes with Arnold Palmer at Railside in West Michigan.
Right. Wow. Everybody knows Arnold Palmer but me.
Highlight of my life.
That's
really.
Awesome.
It was really good.
Did he give you like Pennzoil or any swag?
He did not, but he used every one of his balls. Armored vehicle robbery at a Chase Bank in Lansing.
They've still only searched about a third of the Hawaii wildfire ruins. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News, and the number of confirmed deaths already up to 111.
Recovery workers and cadaver dogs sifted through the rubble once again in ashes looking for bones, teeth, flesh, anything from which a pathologist can draw DNA to obtain an identity by matching a relative's DNA.
Fox's William Lajeunesse in Maui. More than 1,000 people remain unaccounted for around the burnout town of Lahaina. The judge overseeing the third Trump indictment related to the attempts to overturn the 2020 election has been threatened.
Abigail Jo Schrei of Alvin, Texas, is charged with calling the federal courthouse in Washington, D.C. and leaving a threatening message, which court records show included a racial term for federal district judge Tanya Chutkin, who is black.
Fox's Lillian Wu, the DA overseeing the fourth Trump indictment, also election-related in Georgia, has proposed a March 4th trial date. In a new Fox News poll, 53% say they believe the former president did something illegal, but 51% also say he's being politically targeted. Now, the former president remains the Republican 2024 frontrunner, 37 points ahead of Ron DeSantis. Vivek Ramaswamy's third at 11%, but that's 42 points back. Months after Congressman George Santos was indicted on wire fraud and theft charges after admitting to lying about his past, one of his fundraisers is busted.
Sam Mealy's facing charges of wire fraud and aggravated identity theft. Prosecutors allege he schemed to defraud donors and raise money for New York Republican Congressman George Santos by claiming to be a high-ranking aide to a member of the House with leadership responsibilities.
Fox's Jill Nato. There's a manhunt in Harris County, Texas, for the gunman who fled a traffic stop last night after shooting a sheriff's deputy who's in critical condition.
He's fighting the good fight. We're standing with him, and we ask for prayers. That's the main thing.
Sheriff Ed Gonzalez, a San Jose, California police officer, also critical the day after being shot by a gunman now in custody. America's listening to Fox News.
Clouds, thunderstorms to our north and west. 70 degrees at 6:02 on AM 560. The Answer. Here are the stories we're following on WIND Chicago. Authorities are searching for suspects who robbed an armored vehicle at an ATM in Lansing outside of a Chase Bank along Torrance Avenue. Former Illinois legislator Lou Lang was on the witness stand in the federal perjury trial of Michael Madigan's one-time chief of staff. Defendant Tim Mapes is charged with perjury and attempted obstruction of justice. Allegations of misconduct against a former suburban OBGYN continue to pile up. Now 53 women who've come forward to file civil lawsuits against Vernon Cannon, who formerly practiced in DuPage County.
What medical personnel would be taking off their shirt and showing their patients all their tattoos, where he would unbutton his shirt, took off his lab jacket, and proceeded to show me that he was fully tatted.
The complaints also allege that DuPage Medical Group, now known as Dooley Health and Care, did not properly investigate the doctor's background. The claims first came to light in January. A district judge is tossing out several lawsuits challenging Illinois' sport rifle ban. The suits were filed by former Republican Attorney General candidate Thomas DeVore, who had argued the law violated the Constitution. The decision out of Effingham County comes after the state's high court ruled last week that the ban doesn't violate the state constitution. The law bans the sale of some sport rifles and higher capacity magazines in the state. Officials say Illinois taxpayers will provide funeral and burial services for the migrant toddler who died last week on a bus headed to Chicago from Brownsville, Texas. Gismary Alejandra Gonzalez would have turned 4 next week. She died August 10th on board a bus near Marion in southern Illinois, later dying at a local hospital. PGA Field in the suburbs set for one final big event before the Tour Championship. Golfers tee off today at Olympia Fields for the BMW. Lucas Glover, aiming for his 3rd straight win, will tee off alongside Rory McIlroy this morning. Cubs earn a split in their critical series with the White Sox. 4-3 walk-off win thanks to a 9th-inning bomb from Christopher Morel. The news service of Dan and Amy 24/7, around the clock, all day, every day. Listen now, Dan and Amy 247.com. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
November 2nd, 2020, marked the 100th anniversary of the first commercial radio broadcast. We're still here, and we're bigger and better than ever. You can still listen to us over this great radio station, but now there are no limitations. Your smartphone is now your smart radio. Listen to us online on the app, tunein.com, iHeartRadio, and Odyssey.com. Your smart speaker can find us too. With radio, there is no separation anxiety. We're always on. AM 560, The Answer.
Don't let earache from swimmer's ear, clogged ears, or allergies ruin your day. Get fast, effective relief from the pain and itching with Hyland's Earache Drops, the #1 best-selling earache treatment for over 10 years. See why it's received thousands of 5-star reviews and was awarded Best Over-the-Counter Medicine and Health Product in Earache Relief by U.S. News and World Report. Find Hyland's Earache Drops in the eye and ear aisle at Walmart, Walgreens, CVS, Rite Aid, and Target. Claims based on traditional homeopathic practice, not accepted medical evidence, not FDA evaluated.
Born on America's darkest day of 9/11, the Tunnel to Towers Foundation has been supporting the heroes who risk life and limb in the line of duty ever since. Jersey City Police Detective Joseph Seals was shot and killed in the line of duty in 2019, days before Christmas. He left behind his wife and 5 children. Tunnel to Towers immediately paid off their mortgage thanks to your generosity. Donate $11 a month to Tunnel to Towers at T2T.org. That's T2T.org.
Hi, folks. Dennis Prager here. Are you worried about investing in the stock market, especially with Joe Biden in office? Do you trust the economy? What if you could invest in a secure, collateralized portfolio with a high fixed rate of return that's not correlated to the stock market or the Fed? A portfolio where you will know what each monthly statement will look like with no surprises. Your interest is compounded daily. You are paid monthly, and there are no fees. You can turn your income on or off, compound it, whatever you choose, and there is absolutely no loss of principal if you ever need your money back. Just go to investyrefy.com. That's invest, the letter Y, then refy.com, or call 888-YREFI, that's YREFY 24. You can earn a fixed rate of return of up to 10.25%. Just call 888-YREFI24 or go to investyrefy.com and tell them Dennis Prager sent you.
Rick here from Forever Remodeling. You probably heard me talk about how our unique design-build process removes the normal problems of hiring a design and construction company separately. But just don't take my word for it. Listen to these customer reviews. Kelly W. says, from consultation to design to construction, my remodel flowed seamlessly. Adity J says, we were thrilled to have a full-service remodeling firm take all the guesswork out of our project. And Caesar V says, Forever Remodeling made what could have been a very stressful project extremely easy for us. They finished on time and did amazing work. Kitchens, bathrooms, basements, additions, whole house remodeling, whatever you need, our start-to-finish process delivers stunning results without the hassles, headaches, and stress. For a free consultation, call Forever Remodeling at 847-809-3355 or visit foreverremodeling.com. That's the number foreverremodeling.com.
6:08, check of the roads, Team Hochberg Traffic Center time, a service of our friends at Fox Valley Coins, currently buying all gold and silver bars and coins, silver dollars, rare date proof, and mint sets, foxvalleycoins.com. Skokie vehicle fire, Dempster and Lockwood, South Barrington. Central, east and westbound between Barrington Road and Elo Road closed due to an accident. I-80 entrance ramp closed westbound at Richards. That's ongoing road work until next summer. Jane Addams, left turn lane of the exit ramp is closed to eastbound Roselle Road due to a crash on Roselle. Tri-State, disabled vehicle right lane blocked southbound right at the Grand Avenue curve. Edens and an exit ramp closed due to a vehicle fire at Dempster. Crews are handling that vehicle fire eastbound at Dempster, so they've tied off that exit ramp to Dempster for now. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. AM 560 Weather Center forecast with Steve Williams.
Your commute could be slower this morning. A heavy thunderstorm early. It'll be breezy, clouds and sun today, the high 78. Clear tonight, cool, low 58. And then sunny tomorrow, some haze from some of those distant wildfires, the high 79. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560, The Answer.
70 right now. Next news, 6:30. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by In the Know with Wealth Management Group, hosted by Craig and Leslie Bolano Sunday mornings at 10. Learn more at investwithwmg.com.
Listen to AM 560 The Answer online at 560theanswer.com, on the AM 560 mobile app, on your Alexa-powered smart speaker, and on TuneIn, iHeart, and on Odyssey. Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. This police raid in Marion County, Kansas, of the Marion County newspaper. The Marion County Record, the name of the paper.
Yeah, a real small town. I've been following this. It's
right.
Unbelievable.
This is starting to get some press. The Fourth Estate is starting to rally around the Marion County Record. Yeah, in a way that they wouldn't and didn't, for example, say when James O'Keefe's private residence was raided by federal law enforcement. He's a journalist too, Project Veritas at the time. Federal law enforcement raiding his home looking for a Biden family diary. Remember that?
Oh, that's right. The Haley Biden, the daughter's diary.
That he had obtained legally, that he had offered to give back to Haley Biden. Federal law enforcement raid. No concerns about freedom of the press or so-called Gestapo tactics of police then, but there is in Kansas, and perhaps rightly so. This happened on Friday, and now they did execute a search warrant they obtained, but that isn't the end of the story. That's the beginning. That may demand some questions of the judge who issued that search warrant, signed off on it. They raided the home of the editor and publisher Eric Meyer and his 98-year-old mother, Joan,
who has since had a heart attack and died.
She died the next day.
Yeah. She was so upset because she started that newspaper.
The police seized her computer and smart speaker, as well as her son Eric's cell phone and even his router. This was Eric Meyer describing the police raid in part.
We had been investigating the police chief. And let me digress just a little bit and say that they seized the computers, my computer, one reporter's computer, and another reporter's computer. The second reporter's computer was the one who'd been investigating the police chief.
So there's two things there. One is this notion that they were investigating the police chief and had something to do with that. The other indication was that they had a tip about a local restaurateur who had gotten a DUI, and this was related to reporting on that person getting a DUI, which...
That happens in small towns. Hello?
What happens in small towns?
Well, people report on DUIs. It's like in the police blotter section of a local newspaper. That's not a reason to raid their...
Well, obviously.
Right.
So that's why I don't understand how that's some sort of cover story. Eric Meyer said his outlet had been contacted by former colleagues of the police chief about claims of sexual misconduct, but that the 6+ anonymous sources ultimately never went on the record, and reporters couldn't obtain a copy of the chief's personnel file. The claims were contained on one of the computers seized during the raid on the newspaper's office. He told another outlet, "I may be paranoid that this has anything to do with it, but when people come and seize your computer, you tend to be a little bit paranoid." And he referred to this as third world stuff. This is Gestapo tactics from World War II.
Yeah, I mean, they took reporters' cell phones too, not only their computers.
And so so that's what he thinks it is. And the search warrant said it was over an allegation of identity theft by its reporters. Again, local restaurateur, someone sent the paper and a member of local council documents that showed she had a DUI, which would make it illegal for her to have a liquor license. And she, Newell is the woman's name.
Carrie
Newell.
Yeah.
She said that the paper had illegally obtained her DUI records while admitting that she did have a DUI.
Yeah, she brought that up at a city council meeting that they used illegal means to get information about a drunk driving conviction.
Well, I don't know what illegal means is. It's foiable.
It's right.
The paper never published her DUI details, and Meyer, the publisher, denied acting illegally, claimed he believed they had been sent to the paper's reporter, whether they were sent or not. I mean, it's a police record. It's a public document. Anyway, so you have the investigation of the police chief that apparently didn't go anywhere, and they get a search warrant about claiming identity theft about something that is just a public document. It's all very odd, and it smacks of somebody, I'm talking about the police chief, trying to use trying to trump up a rationale to seize these items and documents for the purposes of covering his ass. I don't know, but it is something that deserves and demands more investigation, and this is the sort of thing that we should be talking about from a place of principle, whether it's James O'Keefe or the Marion County Record, or, for example, maybe the people on the left, at the highest reaches of the left, who have called for Fox's FCC license to be rescinded because it is a outlet that pumps out misinformation and disinformation. I mean, this is why, this is, local yokel stuff in Marion County, Kansas, and it's not something to be concerned about, but it is. Point is, stuff like this is happening in Marion County, Kansas, because, number one, you have people in positions of authority that abuse their authority. That happens at every level of government, including in the police department. And number two, it's because we have a political culture that says this kind of stuff is okay.
312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line. You could also reach us on our text line, 64636. Type in DA, then a quick question. The good news is the Kansas Bureau state agency is now investigating, and they have ordered that all the evidence that they took, the cell phones and computers, must be returned immediately. But the fact that it even happened in the first place, such an overreach of someone's position and a blatant violation of constitutional rights.
Yeah, these...
this is not... I mean, I felt like reading this, like, are we in North Korea? Where are we?
Misinformation and disinformation, and you can shut down outlets, you can silence individuals, you can imprison people, or at least attempt to. That's going on right now. A microcosm of the culture. It's interesting because it's something that Antonin Scalia talked about in testimony he provided before Congress once upon a time. These constitutional rights that are often invoked, the right to free speech, the right to a free press, and, depending on whose rights are being infringed, some people will rally and other people will remain silent when we should all be rallying. Something Scalia said about those parchment rights that we think we have and we think are inviolate. They'll be protected. This couldn't happen here, even when it's happening here.
If you think that a Bill of Rights is what sets us apart, you're crazy. Every banana republic in the world has a Bill of Rights. Every president for life has a Bill of Rights. The Bill of Rights of the former evil empire, the Union of Soviet Socialist Republics, was much better than ours. I mean it literally. It was much better. We guarantee freedom of speech and of the press. Big deal. They guaranteed freedom of the speech, of the press, of street demonstrations and protests, and anyone who is caught trying to suppress criticism of the government will be called to account. Whoa, that is wonderful stuff. Of course, just words on paper. What our framers would have called a parchment guarantee. And the reason is that the real constitution of the Soviet Union, you think of the word constitution, it doesn't mean a bill, it means structure. Say a person has a sound constitution, has a sound structure. The real constitution of the Soviet Union, which is what our framers debated that whole summer in Philadelphia in 1787. They didn't talk about the Bill of Rights. That was an afterthought, wasn't it? That constitution of the Soviet Union did not prevent the centralization of power in one person or in one party. And when that happens, the game is over. The Bill of Rights is just what our framers would call a parchment guarantee. So the real key to the distinctiveness of America is the structure of our government. One part of it, of course, is the independence of the judiciary. But there's a lot more. There are very few countries in the world, for example, that have a bicameral legislature. Oh, England has a House of Lords for the time being, but the House of Lords has no substantial power. They can just make the Commons pass a bill a second time. France has a Senate, it's honorific. Italy has a Senate, it's honorific. Very few countries have two separate bodies in the legislature equally powerful. That's a lot of trouble, as you gentlemen doubtless know, to get the same language.
Yeah, it's a lot of trouble because there are checks and balances. The centralization of power. You see it in Chicago and most big cities around the country.
Mm-hmm.
You see it in Washington, D.C. right now, the so-called uniparty. The centralization of power is the end of the republic. And maybe it's driven home when you have a small example of it, like this seems to be in Marion County, Kansas. Centralization of power, one party, one man, then it's over. And you can make appeals to what's written on paper all you want. Those have long been discarded. Concerns about those words on those papers, long been discarded. And you're seeing it happen right now. I mentioned it before, and I'll mention it again. This governor's, meaning Illinois, meaning Butter Cow, his legislation to
silent
to silence pregnancy care centers, and so many other examples of this. Oh, this is under color of law, and it's protecting women's reproductive rights, and so on and so forth. Well, that's the same. That's fun. That's you. Well, you can believe that all you want, but you can't believe that. And you can't believe in our equal right to express ourselves. And the same thing goes for at least two of these Trump indictments. I don't like him, so. Okay, well, you cannot like him and believe that these indictments are legitimate and he should go to jail for what's contained in, say, the Fulton County indictment. But you can also believe in the right, that the equal right for every American to express themselves. They're mutually exclusive. So pick one. By the way, great tweet by Senator John Kennedy from Louisiana about the Trump indictments after the Fulton County one was announced. This is the sort of thing that happens in countries whose Powerball jackpot is 387 chickens and a goat. Yeah. That's
pretty good.
That's about right.
Wow.
And it's funny, except until you consider that that's the direction the country's being taken.
Before you see it on TV, share it on Facebook, or read about it in the paper. Hear it here first. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
This is Seth Leibson of AM 960 The Patriot in Phoenix for townhall.com. The Biden administration just freed up $6 billion for Iran in exchange for 5 American hostages they were holding. Most of us who remember the 1980s remember what arms or money for hostages was, and that it's a terrible idea. Heck, under Barack Obama, we paid $400 million for 4 hostages, and thus assured hostage-taking paid off. Even then, Secretary of State John Kerry said he could not guarantee some of that money wouldn't end up in terrorists' hands. From terrorism and abuse of human rights, to hostage-taking, to the building of more and more nuclear technology, not only can we not ignore Iran, Congress should hold immediate hearings as to how we are enriching our enemies. From China to Afghanistan to Iran. It is one thing to oppose notions of American greatness, but it's entirely another to strengthen and enrich those who have made it very clear they want to see our nation's destruction, and yes, our death.
Publicpolicy.pepperdine.edu.
Dan Proft here. Now is the best time to drive home in your next Mazda. During the Season of Discovery sales event, you get the biggest savings on a new or pre-owned Mazda. And what you see is what you pay. With limited time sales going on right now, there's no better time to buy at Wilkins Mazda in Elmhurst. Lease a 2023 Mazda CX-30 for $249 a month, or a 2023 Mazda CX-5 for $399 a month. That's for 36 months with approved credit through Mazda Capital Services for qualified buyers. Just add license, title, tax, and the $324.24 dock fee. Plus, stop in today and ask about the all-new 2024 Mazda CX-90. And to keep your Mazda running great all year round, schedule your next service appointment online at WilkinsMazdaCars.com. That's WilkinsMazdaCars.com. Wilkins Mazda is conveniently located in Elmhurst off York Road and 290. Just minutes from Oak Brook, downtown, and Schaumburg. Experience the next level of excellence at Wilkins Mazda in Elmhurst. Visit WilkinsMazdaCars.com and see dealer for details.
It's summertime, and you want to keep the shop, warehouse, and other doors open for ventilation. Air circulation improves the well-being of your employees and customers, but open doors can let in the uninvited, like strangers, birds, rodents, and bugs. Industrial Door Company of Chicago, Inc. can help solve the problem with a full line of commercial screen door products designed with these specific problems in mind. Call Industrial Door Company of Chicago, Inc. now. Also, regular scheduled maintenance is the key, and Industrial Door Company of Chicago, Inc. has multiple levels of maintenance programs for your company's needs and budget. They'll ensure your doors, grills, gates, and dock equipment are working to specification to increase the useful life of your doors. Visit their website to see a range of products and services at industrialdoor.com. Call anytime, 847-258-5620. Their team will be there to assist in designing a solution that works best for you. Since 1982, the Industrial Door Company of Chicago, Inc. takes care of your doors so you can take care of business.
All right. Met another very satisfied Balance of Nature customer. She's been taking Balance of Nature for more than 10 years now and absolutely loves it. I had no idea how old she was, Dan. She works out at the gym. She's in great shape, and she's almost 90. And she is walking around like a 60-year-old. Good for her. She takes it because she's not getting enough fruits and veggies on her own, and that's why most people take it, because you have to admit it, you're not doing it, and that's where Balance of Nature comes in. They take the fruits and veggies, they put them through an advanced vacuum cold process, which stabilizes the maximum nutrient content, and then voila, those powdered substance goes into capsules. The recommended dose is 6, 3 fruits, 3 veggies a day. So get your health back. Be proactive. The number to call is 800-246-8751. That's 800-246-8751. Use discount code Chicago or online at balanceofnature.com. Discount code Chicago.
When this is the sound of a waterfall in nature, there's no cause for concern. But when it's the sound of water gushing through your living room ceiling because a pipe burst inside the wall, there's reason to panic unless you pick up the phone and call 1-800-SERVPRO. Only the cleanup and restoration specialists at ServPro can help make fire and water damage like it never even happened. So make the call to 1-800-SERVPRO at the first sign of water damage. Franchises are independently owned and operated.
Hi, I'm Test Director Rick from ServPro, the leader in cleaning, restoration, and construction. It's my job to make sure our pros are prepared for anything. Storm damage? Fixed. Flood damage? We're on it. Fire damage? Not anymore. Aliens? What? Aliens? We cleaned those sites a while ago. no matter the disaster. Our pros will make it like it never even happened. Find out why ServPro is the #1 choice for residential and commercial restoration projects large and small. Visit servpro.com today.
Hi, this is Steve. I'm in Italy, away from my business. But I'm not worried about the office or my absence from it. I'm confident because I've got Turnkey on my side. They've helped me solve several problems for my business, so I can finally relax for a bit while I let the business work. Not only did Turnkey help with my IT problems, their expert team gave me a custom consultation that found additional profit centers in my company. They've helped me focus on a new direction for my business. It's not easy to relax when you own a business, but with our partnership with Turnkey, I feel confident, resolved, and ready to deliver. Now, I'm going to relax, have a Peroni, and depend on the direction Turnkey has helped me embrace. They can help your business too. Visit turnkey.pro to start a conversation today. That's turnkey.pro.
The pros at Turnkey share your values. They know IT and they know small business. They're Chicagoland's small business champions. Visit turnkey.pro to book your appointment today. That's turnkey.pro.
Many novice gold and silver buyers make fatal mistakes when buying precious metals for the first time. Mistakes made because of dealer gimmicks and scams. Dennis Prager here for AmFed Coin and Bullion. My choice, and it really is, for buying precious metals. Numerous precious metal dealers are capitalizing on the demand for gold by selling inexperienced investors collectible coins with outrageous markups. One company charges as much as $18,000 for collectible coins that are only worth about $5,500 in the open market. It's an example of the honesty of AmFed. Other dealers tell falsehoods about government gold confiscation or regulation of gold prices at AmFed Coin and Bullion to keep things simple and transparent so you'll understand what you own and its true value. If you're thinking of buying or have already purchased and want a second opinion, call Nick Grovich, the man I trust, and his team at AmFed Coin and Bullion, 800-221-7694. Receive a complimentary coin performance review, AmericanFederal.com, AmericanFederal.com.
AM 560, The Answer.
All right, coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
We're taking caddy stories all morning in honor of the BMW at Olympia Fields.
Are you going today? All weekend, right?
I'm going to go this weekend, not today. So taking your caddy stories all weekend, we've got a couple that we'll share at 6:36, but then we also have to get to why Dan Proft is single. Maybe there's a connection between my caddying, the slights I suffered as a caddy, and why I'm single. I'll have to think about that.
And later, 2 balls in a jar. Maybe we'll get to it, but I don't know. Though we are going to get to the news right now. Here's Mike Scott. Good morning, Mike.
Amy and Dan, 6:32. Heavy storms are rolling toward the Chicago area from the north and west right now, crossing over and through DeKalb, and again, heading to the southeast. More than 60 migrants are feared dead after a Spanish fishing vessel rescued a boat off the Cape Verde Islands that originally had more than 100 African nation members on board. 7 bodies were found on the boat. 56 are missing at sea. Secretary of State Antony Blinken has spoken by phone with Paul Whelan. The ex-Marine remains detained in Russia.
Reports say that during Wednesday's call, Blinken told him to keep the faith. The top U.S. diplomat noted the government is doing everything it can to bring Whelan home as soon as possible. Whelan has been in a Russian jail since 2018 and was sentenced to 16 years in prison on an espionage charge that he denies. U.S. officials have declared him wrongfully detained along with American journalist Evan Gershkovich, who's also being held in Russia. I'm Brian Shook.
The death toll from the Maui wildfire is up to 111. 38% of the burn zone has been searched. Governor Josh Green.
I can tell you it's going to be a long and costly recovery, but much of that work will be done here with our local people. That's going to be another priority for us, using local contractors to the best of our ability so the people who need jobs can get them.
President Biden is scheduled to head to the island on Monday. Over a dozen people who survived the mass shooting at a supermarket in Buffalo, New York last year have banded together to file suit. They're taking action against social media companies, the retailer that sold Peyton Gendron his gun, and the company that manufactured body armor. They're also suing Gendron's parents. Authorities are searching for the suspects who robbed an armored vehicle at an ATM in Lansing, a Chase Bank on Torrance Avenue yesterday. University of Chicago medicine stepping up security after a brawl broke out in the ER over the weekend. More than a dozen people busted inside the medical center Sunday night as shooting victims were being treated, and 3 emergency department employees were injured. An investigation continues after 2 men were shot outside of a funeral home on Chicago's South Side. The owner of Leak & Sons Funeral Home is very upset.
See that name? That's my name on that building. And when things like that happen in front of my place, that affects my name.
Police say the shooting happened yesterday outside the funeral home on South Cottage Grove Avenue. Both victims remain in critical condition. The PGA field in the suburbs for one final event for the Big Tour Championship. Golfers tee it up today at Olympia Fields on the North Course for the BMW. Lucas Glover aiming for his 3rd straight win. Cubs earn a split in their critical series with the White Sox, a 4-3 walk-off victory at Wrigley, powered by a 9th-inning 3-run home run by Christopher Morel. The Bears practicing with the Colts ahead of their game on Saturday in Indianapolis. The news service of Fox Valley Coins, currently buying all gold and silver bars and coins, silver dollars, rare date proof, and mint sets. Visit foxvalleycoins.com. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
This radio station is always on, but sometimes you need more content that you can take with you anywhere. That's why we invented the SalemPodcastNetwork.com. You'll find all the great hosts on this radio station, plus a few more, like Charlie Kirk, Dinesh D'Souza, Trish Regan, Jenna Ellis, and Dennis and Julie. There's literally no end to what we can teach you. It's like radio on demand, and just like radio, it's always on. Go find out what you're missing. Download the app, SalemPodcastNetwork.com.
Balance of Nature's fruits and vegetables in a capsule, changing the world one life at a time.
I've had a high energy level every day, and I've just been doing great. And I just feel like it's a definite advantage to take them. Let me just say one other thing. I mentioned to my doctor that I was taking Balance of Nature, and they said they were very positive about that. And they said that was really good. That's a good product. And so I've been very pleased.
Start your journey to better health with Balance of Nature. Call 1-800-246-8751 or go to balanceofnature.com to get 35% off your first preferred order with free shipping and our money-back guarantee. That's 1-800-246-8751. Go to balanceofnature.com or call 1-800-246-8751 and get this special offer by using discount code CHICAGO.
Want some wins? Wintrust Community Banks is proud to be ranked #1 in customer satisfaction with personal banking in Illinois by J.D. Power. That's one win. And we did it for the 2nd year in a row. That's a win-win. And you can now earn even more interest with our new savings rates. That's a win-win-win. To get your savings some wins, visit wintrust.com/locknewrates today. That's wintrust.com/locknewrates. Members FDIC. For J.D. Power 2023 award information, visit jdpower.com/awards.
On Target Radio is back on AM 560. Every Sunday night at 9, Dave Lombardo and Gretchen Fritz discuss the red meat issues that affect your life. The Second Amendment, personal liberty, government intrusion. They'll also bring you the latest from the Washington and Springfield swamps on Target Radio. Sunday nights at 9. Sponsored in part by Safer USA, a leader in firearms education and training. Hackett Equipment, makers of the finest gun range carrying bags. And Geekometrics, experts in data security.
Angie makes it easier than ever to connect with skilled pros to get your home projects done well, from repair to remodel. Get started on the app or go to Angie.com. That's ANGI.com.
It is 6:38. Let's get an update on the roads. Team Hotberg Traffic Center time, a service of Lowe's. Lowe's knows how to save pros time and money right now. Take up to 40% off select bathroom vanities, plus get free local truck delivery while supplies last through 8/23. Selection varies by location. The Edens exit ramp to Dempster on the outbound side has been reopened after an earlier car fire has been doused. Inbound Kennedy 41 right now. O'Hare into the Burns Circle interchange. The Ike at 38, 390 to the old post office. Dan Ryan, 20 minutes, 95th into the Burns Circle interchange. Jane Addams, a left turn lane off the exit ramp heading toward eastbound Roselle Road, shut down due to a crash and an investigation after a fatal motorcycle crash in that area. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next. AM 560 Weather Center forecast. Heavy thunderstorms rolling through the area right now. 78 for a high temp later today. Clear and cool overnight. Low 58. 70 right now. Next news at 7. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560 The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Papa Nicholas Coffee. Brew some at home today. A family tradition since 1897. Online at papanicholas.com.
Listen to AM 560 The Answer online at 560theanswer.com, on the AM 560 mobile app, on your Alexa-powered smart speaker, and on TuneIn, iHeart, and on Odyssey. Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson. Only the biggest stories, only the biggest guests, and only the biggest opinions. This is AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. It's a lot bigger than NASCAR. The BMW at Olympia Fields. People actually play golf here.
Oh.
They don't drive NASCAR. I don't know why they're talking about, this should be the biggest sporting event in Chicago.
Yeah,
it is the biggest sporting event in Chicago.
Yeah.
For the summer, there's no question.
You're going to
about
get
it.
local and national media. It's going to be great. You're going to have a wonderful weekend.
I just don't. The rain has to stay
Well,
away.
no.
I don't want it to be too soft.
It is going to rain. It's raining now, but after that, the sun will be shining all weekend long.
I know they could go low today. I'm a little worried about that. But anyway, taking it. We have a doozy. From why Dan Proft is single. You want to wait for that. But we're also taking caddy stories all morning. And Jim in Beverly has one. Jim, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Morning, Dan. Morning, Amy.
Morning.
Actually, I'm in St. John, Indiana, and now got wise 15 years ago to get out of the evil state. But I may be one of the oldest caddies calling in. I didn't have the privilege of caddying for an Arnold Palmer or Weisskopf or Lee Elder, but I did as a caddy at Ridge Country Club, caddy for Hank the Bank Kruger, local luminaries, Gene Stump the Mover, the Four Mules, the Four Horsemen, Buttercup. Oh no, I never got to caddy for Buttercup, but
Buttercup.
I enjoyed
Princess Bride. Who's Butter? Who's Butter? I mean, I know who the Four Horsemen are, but who's Buttercup?
But no, I'm kidding. Buttercup was who just referred to Pritzker.
Butter cow.
Oh, butter cow.
Yeah.
Butter cow. I'm sorry.
Buttercup is what advocates.
I think. Right. Buttercup is what
Come here, snuggle.
Yeah, well, it could
and
be
Tommy
Buttercup.
Raoul also calls him Buttercup.
Anyway, in my 79 years, I enjoyed 4 very successful careers, all that I can link back to my many years caddying at Ridge Country Club, including my second job, which was fighting in Vietnam, and the camaraderie as a caddy was second to the camaraderie of me going elbow to elbow with my comrades in the war. But the caddies would vie for caddying for the Four Horsemen, who were 4 ladies who were incredible tippers back then. Back there, and they played rapidly. And there was another group referred to as the Four Mules, who were 4 of the bigger business dignitaries who would take 7-8 hours to play around, and the biggest tip we could get from any of them was about 45 cents. I think we were making $2.50 or $3 for 9 holes, and then if we got a dollar chip, man, we were in heaven, because that would take us down to the from the country club down to the Rexall Drugs, where we could walk across the street to Prince Castle and get a Prince Burger and the Rainbow Cone, and never enjoyed memories. We had this conversation before, Dan. It was without a doubt the greatest job I ever freaking had, and it set me up for being the incredible success I was for all those years later. And I'm proud that you're in the fraternity, my man, of toting those bags. And it's like I say, I never got to caddy for those names. Probably the biggest celebrity I caddy for was Ronnie Bull, the old Bear running back.
Yeah, sure.
But it was again the experience of my life. I was tiny, and now I'm a big ass kicking man. But I was tiny, and we'd go out and we double caddy for we do 18, and couldn't wait to get back in and do another 18 of double caddying because making $20 in a day, man, that was huge back then.
When men were men, Jim.
Yeah, thank you for your service too in Vietnam.
And now it's thank you, baby. And now we're living when men were men, and if they wanted to be a babe, they could do that too now.
Thanks for the call, Jim. Appreciate it. I love that the Four Horsemen, not the Newt Rockney Four Horsemen or the Four Horsemen of the Apocalypse. But the Four Horsemen was a ladies group at Ridge. That's great. I love nicknames. All right, so we got another one, an email from Manny at Midway, another Butler guy. My story, Butler caddy, early 80s, was able to caddy in the Western Open one time. But I had a member bring in a pro on the Saturday before qualifying. The pro was a young Payne Stewart.
Oh.
No knickers, slacks, and a regular golf shirt, trying to qualify in one of his first tournaments. Super nice guy, incredible swing. Yeah, we know. He wanted to play the backs. I would say he shot a legit 75. Which is, I mean, for Butler. I caddied for some very good players. This guy was the real deal. He didn't qualify on that Monday. He said, I drew Bob Byman for the tourney. It did not go well. He missed the cut and was an absolute blank, blank, blank.
Oh, can't say that on the air.
That's what happens. You know, it's a mixed bag out there, like life. I was a contender for the Evans, but went to the U.S. Air Force instead. That's Manny Midway caddy story, from caddying to the Air Force. Dan, you're great. Amy's not bad, too. No, he actually said, love you and Amy. Keep up the great work. All right, thank you.
Although I didn't caddy.
Oh, wait.
I've had caddies. Oh, yeah. Pops. Harvey.
Mr. Jacobson is on the Jacobson hotline.
Right.
Yeah.
Hi, Dad.
Yes. How are you?
Good. So tell where did you caddy again? Because I need to write
Park Ridge Country Club.
Park Ridge. Oh, good track.
Right.
I just played there a couple weeks ago. All right.
Oh, that's when I was caddying there were 120 sand traps on that course.
I think a lot of them are still there.
They didn't need a caddy, then I think they needed a camel.
All right.
Well, any stories?
And who did you caddy for in the Western Open, since everybody caddied in the Western Open besides me?
Probably Cantlay.
Oh, no, who would you caddy for? No, so what was, but give us a caddy story.
Oh, there's so many of them. There was a hole-in-one club they had at Park Ridge Country Club. You would sign up, and if anybody got a hole-in-one, the people that signed up would donate $5 to this person that would help them cover the free drink thing.
Right, right.
I caddied for this couple on a Sunday afternoon. He got a hole-in-one, and he came over and he gave me $10, which was almost like $500. To keep my mouth shut.
Exactly.
Because he hadn't signed up, and it'd be a little suspicious if his name was on the bottom of the list.
That's great.
Oh, it's
you know how they avoid that now. Like I know they do it at Olympia Fields. It's like a $25 monthly fee or something that just goes to that fund. So you can't duck out on it. Any other caddy stories, Mr. Jacobson, that you'd like?
Oh, let's see. I used to caddy 36 holes double and come home with $11.
Wow.
And that's what financed Amy's Iowa education?
Yeah, it financed my car fare to Lane Tech High School every day. But, they gave the cheapest tippers to the newest caddies. And there was a judge by the name of Judge Jonas, and he would give you an apple or something like that for a tip.
Yeah.
About 20 years ago, I was at a meeting, and I was talking with a guy, and he said he had caddied at Park Ridge Country Club, and the first thing he said, "Oh, did you ever caddy for that judge that gave you an apple?"
Yeah, that's an indelible memory. I can understand why. Thank you so much,
All right,
Mr.
bye, Dad.
Jacobson.
Love you. Thanks.
Yeah,
right.
take care.
Very good. I don't want to hold him up. He's probably got a tea time. He's probably gonna be out at 7 up at sun up, right?
Yeah. So when he goes, rain or shine.
Dean in Blue Island. Hey,
Hi,
Dean.
Dan and Amy. I caddied in 3 Western Opens, working in Olympia Field when I was 15.
Should I just get salt from the kitchen and pour
15 in
it?
1968. Nicholas won. Then he went on to win at Beverly in 16, now in 70. Anyway.
Who'd you caddy for?
Tommy Bolt. You know about him?
No.
He was 49 years old when I had him. I was like number 485 of the caddies. That's why I drew. And he prize money. First prize was $26,000. All 4 of those years. And he finished tied for 10th, believe it or not. And Weisskopf liked him, who I ended up caddying for in 71. And I got to pick him. And Ziggy Troy told me, you should take a guy that's coming out of Brigham Young called John Miller. He's going to be quite a player. Boy, was he right.
Yeah.
But I had Weisskopf who didn't make the cut, unfortunately.
Really?
But anyway, a story was, he had kind of a temper himself. He was down on himself.
Yeah. No, that's
then it turned out he kind of had a drinking problem, which I wasn't aware of until fairly recently, and he just passed away last December.
Yeah, that's right.
So anyway, he finished tied for 10th and made $1,000, and he gave me $100. And on Sunday in our group was Lee Trevino, 28 years old, first year on the tour, won U.S. Open that year. Didn't have a sponsor yet. He had Faultless etched into a white bag, plain white bag, and a Dr. Pepper decal on the bottom of the bag. So in '69, they didn't have enough caddies at Midlothian, so they imported some of us over there. And Billy Casper won $26,000, and it rained the whole time. They were squeegeeing off the greens. It was downpour most of the time, but they had to get it in because the U.S. Open was the next week. So, and I remember a kid from Billy Rice, chubby little freckle-faced redhead kid. Billy Casper gave him $2,600. He gave him 10%, which was huge. And that's about it. Subsequently, I've had some jobs, and I worked in the men's locker room for my college. I paid for my college for that. It was the best summer job any kid could have.
Thanks for the call, Dean. Yeah, thanks.
Okay.
Thanks, Dean. Appreciate it. Speaking of Lee Trevino, did you ever hear the Lee Trevino story? It's a classic Lee Trevino story. He's a very funny guy. Do you know who Lee Trevino is?
I know. Yes, I'm aware.
All right, not everybody does.
Do you know who Chichi Rodriguez is?
I do.
I got to play a few rounds with him. Well, not rounds, a few holes with him.
You didn't make out with him, did you?
No, I did not make out with him.
Oh,
Stop it. He's too short.
How tall is Edward James Olmos?
Okay, please stop. Just stop. Please.
Anyway, back to Lee Trevino.
So, you start talking about his complexion. Okay, what about Lee Trevino?
No, that's Lee
Okay,
and Chichi Rodriguez is literally a swordsman, at the putter. Lee Trevino's story about why he mows his own yard. You've never heard that one?
Which
you
one?
Ever heard that one?
Oh, you told me this years ago. So I dutifully forgot.
Trevino goes home in Dallas, and he's mowing his front lawn. Lady driving by, big shiny Cadillac, pulls up and says, Excuse me, do you speak English? Lee Trevino said, yes, ma'am, I do. The lady then asked, what do you charge to do yard work? And he said, this is right, his house.
Okay.
Right. He said, well, the lady in this house lets me sleep with her. And then the woman in the Cadillac drove off, right? He was mowing his own yard.
I know.
With his
That's
wife
a great.
inside.
That's such a great.
He's very
story.
funny. He's very funny.
Mm.
All right, Phil in Maryville.
Hey, I was playing around the golf at that course off of 67th and Stony Island, and my golf ball got shot out of midair by a stray bullet over there.
Hi-oh.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks for the call, Phil. All right, we're going to have to postpone why Dan Practicing. Maybe we'll fit it in later in the show. Yeah.
Connect with Dan and Amy on the AM 560 The Answer mobile app. Just text the word app to 64636 to download the app today.
Don't defund the police. Hire the police to protect your business. Rising crime has been crippling business owners in Illinois more and more in the past year. Blue Star Security can protect your most valuable asset, your business, to protect both you and your customers. Blue Star Security is the only security company in Chicago with over 500 off-duty police officers, all W-2 employees.
I'm Anthony Barchetto, president of Blue Star Security and a 20-year law enforcement veteran. Our team is exclusively state-certified active and retired law enforcement professionals who provide the highest standards in security. We serve Fortune 500 companies as well as small businesses and individuals, responding rapidly and seamlessly to each assignment. Blue Star Security's technology allows mobilization of off-duty officers quickly and efficiently. Our primary mission is to provide unparalleled protective services for each assignment with integrity while maintaining our commitment to community service in the Chicagoland area.
Visit online to schedule a free security consultation at BlueStarSecurityLTD.com. That's BlueStarSecurityLTD.com.
Did you know that St. John Lutheran School in Lombard is the only school in the entire state of Illinois offering the renowned Hillsdale College K-8 curriculum? That's pretty good. If you're a parent in Lombard, Glen Ellen, Wheaton, Downers Grove, or the surrounding areas, and you're searching for an exceptional educational experience for your child, then look no further than St. John's Lutheran K-8 school, where academic excellence meets strong Christian values. St. John's partnership with Hillsdale College ensures your child receives a rigorous K-8 academic experience. What sets St. John's apart is that they recognize the concerns many parents have about the radical woke agenda infiltrating public schools. That's why they're dedicated to providing a nurturing environment that promotes the Christian faith, traditional values, and critical thinking. The Hillsdale College K-8 curriculum, combined with their focus on Christian faith and character development, is a game changer for your child's education. Learn more at stjohnslombard.com. That's the letters S-T, johnslombard.com, stjohnslombard.com. Give your child or grandchild the gift of a faith-based Hillsdale College K-8 curriculum-based education. That's stjohnslombard.com, stjohnslombard.com.
Relief Factor, pain relief that's natural, pain relief that works, and pain relief that attacks the source of the pain. That's the experience of tens of thousands of Americans who are taking Relief Factor right now. See their incredible video endorsements at relieffactor.com and then order your 3-week quick starter pack for just $19.95. That's less than $1 a day. Find out if it can work for you like it works for me by ordering your 3-week quick starter pack today. Relieffactor.com, relieffactor.com. Be the next success story.
In theaters, August 25th.
I'm one of the best hitters you're ever going to see.
The true inspirational story about family and faith. Briarcliff Entertainment's The Hill.
They said he will never walk, and he ran. How many miracles do you need?
Starring Dennis Quaid.
You can't play baseball. God's going to give you a higher calling.
You seen this? Major League Trials.
You're going to paralyze him. It's all stacked against me.
The Hill.
I cannot do this alone.
Rated PG. In theaters, August 25th. Get tickets now.
Rick here from Forever Remodeling. You probably heard me talk about how our unique design-build process removes the normal problems of hiring a design and construction company separately. But just don't take my word for it. Listen to these customer reviews. Kelly W. says, from consultation to design to construction, my remodel flowed seamlessly. Adity J says, we were thrilled to have a full-service remodeling firm take all the guesswork out of our project. And Caesar V says, Forever Remodeling made what could have been a very stressful project extremely easy for us. They finished on time and did amazing work. kitchens, bathrooms, basements, additions, whole house remodeling, whatever you need, our start to finish process delivers stunning results without the hassles, headaches, and stress. For a free consultation, call Forever Remodeling at 847-809-3355 or visit foreverremodeling.com. That's the number foreverremodeling.com.
AM 560, The Answer.
All right, coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
I want this show to become, too like Eric and Kathy. Is that still a show? But maybe Why Dan Proft is single at 7:07.
Is it that good?
It's pretty good.
All right, then let's do it. All right, but now let's head into the newsroom. Here's Mike Scott.
Morel's walk-off home run lifts the Cubs over the White Sox. WIND Chicago News Time, 7.
Most Americans think former President Trump did something wrong. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. That is all in a new Fox News poll.
Former President Trump has repeatedly spoken out about the multiple criminal cases against him. He's criticized the judges, the prosecutors, even the pundits involved. Now we know where he stands in the court of public opinion.
Fox's Mark Meredith at the White House, where the former president hopes to return.
53% of people saying they believe he did something illegal, 20% saying something wrong, not illegal, and 24% saying nothing seriously wrong.
Among Republican voters, the Trump lead in the 2024 race is at 37 points ahead of Florida Governor Ron DeSantis. Vivek Ramaswamy is at 11% in third place, but that's still 42 points back at Trump. Now back to the Trump legal issues. The DA in Georgia overseeing the fourth Trump indictment, accusing him of trying to overturn the state's election results, has proposed a March 4th trial date.
Just weeks before his proposed trial date for that hush money case out of New York. Now remember, Trump was charged with falsifying business records out of Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg's office. This would also be just weeks after Special Counsel Jack Smith's proposed trial date of January 2nd for a separate case related to the 2020 election.
Fox's Brooke Sigmund, the federal judge overseeing that elections case in Washington, has been threatened. The Texas woman arrested, also accused of threatening to kill Democratic Congresswoman Sheila Jackson Lee. It's up to 111 people dead in the wildfire devastated Maui, where Fox Weather's Robert Ray reports.
And there still is the search for human remains. And on top of that, locals are wanting to know how the fire started, trying to figure out exactly, why the sirens didn't go off, why more alerts were not given to people.
More than 1,000 remain unaccounted for. In North Carolina, Republican state lawmakers have overridden Democratic Governor Roy Cooper vetoes. One law bans gender-affirming medical care for minors, another prohibits transgender athletes from competing in women's sports. America's listening to Fox News.
70 degrees at 7:02 on AM 560, The Answer. Good morning. I'm Mike Scott. We have powerful storms crossing the area from right around Aurora all the way up through Waukegan, moving to the east-southeast right now. Some of those storms are producing some hail around Crystal Lake, reports of hail this morning. Man has died after being found unresponsive with multiple gunshot wounds on the city's west side. That according to Chicago police, who tell us the man had 6 gunshot wounds to the torso, transported to Mount Sinai Hospital in critical condition, where he was later pronounced dead. Former Illinois legislator Lou Lang was on the witness stand in the federal perjury trial of Michael Madigan's one-time chief of staff. The ex-state rep was forced to step down at Madigan's request in 2018 after a sexual harassment allegation surfaced. While it was a sunny day in Springfield at the Illinois State Fair, looming overhead, a major corruption cloud brought by the former Illinois House Speaker and defendant Tim Mapes in that federal trial. AM 560's Greg Bishop was at the state fair.
4 people connected with former Illinois House Speaker Michael Madigan were convicted of a bribery scheme by a federal jury earlier this year. This week, Madigan's former chief of staff and House Clerk Tim Mapes faces a jury. Madigan, who's pleaded not guilty to 22 corruption counts, faces trial next year. Aside from being speaker for decades, Madigan also controlled the Democratic Party of Illinois. Among Democrats at the fair Wednesday for Governor's Day, State Representative Jay Hoffman said he hasn't been following the latest around what prosecutors called Madigan Enterprise.
Bribery is illegal. It's always been illegal. It'll continue to be illegal. We passed substantial ethics reforms recently, and let's just let them be put in effect, and let's see how they work out.
In Springfield, I'm Greg Bishop.
State and local health officials are investigating a cluster of 3 Legionnaire's disease cases, all in the town of Findlay, Illinois. PGA Field in the suburbs for the BMW Championship at Olympia Fields. Lucas Glover aiming for his 3rd straight win. Cubs are in a split in their series with the White Sox, a 4-3 walk-off win powered by a 9th-inning bomb from Christopher Morel. The news, a service of the Salem Podcast Network. The latest from Charlie Kirk, Dinesh D'Souza, Trish Regan, and many more. Subscribe free, SalemPodcastNetwork.com. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Mike Gallagher sees more insanity in Washington.
The Department of Justice trying to arrest Devin Archer before he has a chance to testify against Joe Biden today. This is over the top. And that's why Trump continues to soar in the polls. We are witnessing levels of insanity that are just hard to comprehend.
The Mike Gallagher Show, weekdays at 9, right before Dennis Prager at 11 on AM 560. The Answer.
Don't let earache from swimmer's ear, clogged ears, or allergies ruin your day. Get fast, effective relief from the pain and itching with Hyland's Earache Drops, the #1 best-selling earache treatment for over 10 years. See why it's received thousands of 5-star reviews and was awarded Best Over-the-Counter Medicine and Health Product in Earache Relief by U.S. News and World Report. Find Hyland's Earache Drops in the eye and ear aisle at Walmart, Walgreens, CVS, Rite Aid, and Target. Claims based on traditional homeopathic practice, not accepted medical evidence, not FDA evaluated.
Born on America's darkest day of 9/11, the Tunnel to Towers Foundation has been supporting the heroes who risk life and limb in the line of duty ever since. Jersey City Police Detective Joseph Seals was shot and killed in the line of duty in 2019, days before Christmas. He left behind his wife and 5 children. Tunnel to Towers immediately paid off their mortgage thanks to your generosity. Donate $11 a month to Tunnel to Towers at T2T.org. That's T2T.org.
TV news. It's a love-hate relationship. Well, let's be honest. More hate. We agree. That's why we're different. Salem News Channel has assembled the greatest collection of conservative minds all in one place. Home to Charlie Kirk, Hugh Hewitt, Eric Metaxas, and more. There's finally a place on TV for lovers of freedom like you. Watch anytime, on any screen, free 24/7. Find what you're looking for at snc.tv. That's snc.tv.
Are you choosing foods that just keep you going through the day? Or are you choosing foods that keep you going with an abundance of energy?
I did notice a boost in energy. My wife noticed it. I noticed it as I'm driving. Balance of Nature has definitely helped me out.
I discovered Balance of Nature. I noticed energy level much improved, and I could go longer and didn't feel the fatigue.
I've been taking Balance of Nature, and it's definitely given me an energy boost so that I can keep up with the grandkids.
When I tried Balance of Nature, I felt like I had more energy right away. I feel great.
Since I've been taking Balance of Nature, I've been able to relieve myself of this slump and get on with my day. I want to keep living my life with energy, and Balance of Nature helps me do that.
Get consistent, real nutrition in your body and experience the difference for yourself. Start your journey to better health with Balance of Nature. Go to balanceofnature.com to get 35% off your first preferred order and get this special offer by using discount code CHICAGO.
7:07. Let's get an update on the roads. We do that, of course, in the Team Hochberg Traffic Center, a service of Protect and Grow with Tim Stearns. Tune in Saturdays at noon. Enjoy weekly discussions to a secure retirement. Inbound Eden's Jam Solid Foster to Montrose, 20 minutes in from Lake Cook Road. Kennedy in 46 O'Hare into the Burns Circle interchange. The I-37 from 390 into the old post office. Stevenson 37 into DuSable Lakeshore Drive, while the Dan Ryan 23 in from 95th to the Circle. Bishop Ford stop and go due to an accident inbound between 8094 and 159th. The exit ramp on the Jane Addams Toll Road, I-90 eastbound to Roselle Road, has been reopened after an investigation and cleanup of a fatal motorcycle crash. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next. AM 560 Weather Center forecast with our meteorologist, Steve Williams.
Your commute could be slower this morning. A heavy thunderstorm early. It'll be breezy, clouds and sun today, the high 78. Clear tonight, cool, low 58. And then sunny tomorrow, some haze from some of those distant wildfires, the high 79. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560, The Answer.
70 and storms in the area. Your next news update, 7:30. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by NJ Diet. Lose 20 to 40 pounds in just 40 days. Call 855-NJ-DIET or NJDiet.com.
Listen to AM 560 The Answer online at 560theanswer.com, on the AM 560 mobile app, on your Alexa-powered smart speaker, and on TuneIn, iHeart, and on Odyssey. Now, from the Signature Bank Studios. This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Time now for another reason why Dan Proft is single.
Where's the
romantic? No,
there we
it is.
go.
I really can't get into the segment without that soothing music. Yeah.
Is this Bruce Springsteen?
I have to hurry off to my secret garden. Are you ready for this one?
Okay, hold on.
My wife has a terminal disease. She's projected to live at most 9 months. I'm, of course, destroyed. We've been together for a decade. I don't remember life without her, and I don't know what I'm going to do when she's gone. I've been doing my best to make the last days of her life good and grant her whatever wish I can. The doctor said she was likely to need a wheelchair in 4 or 5 months. Then by month 8, she'll be bedridden for the last few weeks. That's if she doesn't decline faster.
This is sad. What? This is...
Here it comes. Recently, she sat me down and told me that one of the last things she wanted to do was have sex with a previous partner of hers.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, it's not quite so
Honey.
maudlin now, is it?
Well, at least
hold
she's
on.
being honest.
Hold on. I was, of course, shocked. I asked why the blank she wants that. Basically, she thinks that her most physically compatible, satisfying lover was her ex. She gave a whole monologue about how sex sometimes is just physical and how emotionally fulfilling sex is with me, but you know, the other guys, well, anyway. So I'm left with this. Deny my dying wife a wish for my own ego.
Oh, boy.
Or let her go have sex with another man who she feels was better.
312-642-5600. Turnkey.pro answer line 64636. Type in DA, then a quick comment.
So what would you do? The obvious question comes.
That's a hard one. Does he want to be with her?
And what?
I mean, the guy, her old boyfriend, has he moved on?
I don't think that the husband is taking into account the opinion of the ex on this conversation. I think he's thinking about him and himself and his relationship with his wife, and obviously this conflict he has, as he nicely articulated it. My wife with her dying wish, or reject it, say no. Well, first of all, I mean, it's interesting that she chose to essentially ask permission, get like absolution, I suppose. Yeah. Not exactly Make-A-Wish Foundation stuff.
No. No. Yeah, no. What would you do, Dan? I mean, she's dying, though.
I would never be in a situation like that, which is why Dan Proft is single. Yeah.
Because once you do that, then you're not going back in the bed.
Well, here's the thing. My initial reaction is, if you ask the question, it doesn't matter anymore. Once you
Right.
made the request,
It's over. But she's dying.
she's dying to get some from her ex.
Oh, hey-oh. Oh, no. That is another. They were married for 10 years.
That's what he says. I can't verify the veracity of all this, but even if it was untrue, and I mean, I'm reading, this was posted.
But this is not a hypothetical.
I don't think so, but
No.
but I can't confirm it. But even if it was, it's still an interesting morality question, isn't it?
Mhm.
I think so. Yeah, what do you think? You with the dying woman on this one, dying wife?
It's a little selfish of her, I got to tell you.
You think so?
No, I'd be like, buzz off, die alone. You were born alone and you're going to die alone. Thank you.
Let's get some other opinions here. Sean and Darian, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Good morning, guys. Yeah, after wasting 10 years of my life, I would just go out and buy a Blue Barrel. Thank you.
Hi-oh.
Oh, you guys are so bad.
Is that too soon? Will and Skokie.
Hey, yeah, I drop her real quick. The thing to remember is if she's talking this way about her ex, she's probably cheated on you along the way. 10 years without, being with him. Yeah, it's the covenant of marriage is the most important contract that you can have, but it's the easiest contract in the world to break, unfortunately. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Will. Tom in Blue Island.
Hey, Dan and Amy. So the ex, is this guy just sitting out there where this tryst would be possible? She's been nailing the ex the whole 10 years, and this is a guilt trip, and she just wants to admit it before she finally dies.
Oh, that's an interesting theory. Yeah, interesting theory.
Text messages, I think it would make moving a little easier. Like moving on.
Moving on.
Yeah. What about what happened to the line in the wedding vows about keeping until death do us part?
Trying to find an escape clause there. Rick in Downers Grove.
Hey, good morning. I think I tell her, I would tell her, I'm going to have to think about this. You got to give me some time to kind of go it over in my head. And I figured about 8-9 months into thinking about it, when she's lying on her deathbed with maybe a week to go, I'd be like, yes, you can do it.
I love gallows humor. Larry in Elmhurst.
Hey, good morning. I'd say, yeah, go ahead, but I'm going to spend your insurance money on hookers and cocaine.
And hang out with Hunter Biden.
I don't know why it had to be cocaine. I don't know why you had to get. But I think that's Larry.
Hookers and coke go hand in
I think
hand.
Larry is thinking about his own dying wishes. Steve in Oswego.
Yeah, the first thing I'm doing is returning that wheelchair because there's no way I'm pushing her around.
Oh my gosh! I'm sorry.
Thanks for the call. Yeah, getting a little chippy.
Wow.
I mean, you have to expect some pointed responses to this question. I think you have to expect that.
So upset.
Frank in Arlington Heights.
Oh, good morning. As a history teacher, I teach Julius Caesar, across the Rubicon,
Yeah.
49 BC. This gives a whole new, just her asking that just gives a whole new meaning to crossing the Rubicon to me. What an incredible ask, and completely selfish. So.
Thanks for the call, Frank. Yeah.
Speaking of selfish,
I'll remember this fondly, right?
I don't know if I could tell you this. This guy wants his balls back. This is happening in Pontiac.
There's a lot of
Michigan.
guys.
No.
A lot of guys who want their balls back.
A transgender woman has gone to court alleging that her ex has her balls in a mason jar in the fridge next to the eggs.
Has her balls? How does somebody have her balls?
Well, she's in a relationship.
No.
He's in a relationship with
Yeah.
another man, but her name now is Brianna, and she went through the transgender surgery.
Brianna wants her balls back. I think that's going to be a kid's book. That would probably be in your grade school library next week.
This is the Detroit News on Friday. They covered the court case, and it said that the human remains are in a mason jar in the fridge next to the eggs.
Yeah.
You can't make this stuff up. The Brianna also wants $6,500 in damages. She wanted to retain possession of her surgically extracted testicles and the ex-boyfriend or ex-lover will not give her back her balls.
So 2 dudes pretending to be women are arguing about balls. Is that right?
That are into me.
Are you sure?
I'm not kidding.
Did that happen in Hinsdale?
This is Newsweek. No,
Where
this
is
is
that? River
Pontiac,
Forest?
Michigan.
Oh.
Yeah. Quote, she picked up all her possessions when we broke up. She took everything she wanted, but I want these.
These are 2 dudes, right?
Yes, but one transitioned to a woman, meaning they had the surgery.
So the dude. So is the other the guy with his balls? Is he still a dude, or is he pretending to be a woman too?
37-year-old William Wojciechowski.
So there was
is keeping her testicles.
So it's 2 dudes, and then one of the dudes said, "Now I'm a woman," and the other dude said, "Fine."
Yeah.
Until they got
broke
in the
up.
fight over the other dude's balls.
Well, they broke up, but it was a contentious breakup.
Oh,
And
sure.
They lived together for 8 months, and he, when Brianna, the transgender woman, left the apartment, she forgot to take her balls with her. And the ex-boyfriend,
This is what you
who's
need a
30
wife. This is what you need a wife for. You just keep them in the purse. Yeah, they're right here.
I don't think he's going to give it up.
Wait, so she forgot. Why does he want his balls back? I mean,
Because
not that
they're
that's
his-
not a legitimate request, but they're sort of past post at this point, isn't it?
Because they're his testicles, and he wants them back.
Why? What does he want to do with them?
I don't know. Maybe juggle.
What is
I don't
the,
know,
what is the
throwing
guy?
a tennis ball and
what does the
juggle?
guy keeping his testicles want to do with them?
Just because he's upset about the breakup.
Maybe you could let this dying wife fondle them as her last, rather than the. She bring everybody together.
Mm-hmm.
And so,
speaking further in court, William Wojciechowski said he has no plans to turn over the jar to Kingsley, despite legal action that she's taking, and said, I don't owe her anything.
well, it's a him. You don't owe him anything because we're talking about balls, his balls in particular. But
I just didn't know you could take body parts home from surgeries. I thought that was against the law.
Well, if they're your body parts. Well, you want to put something on the mantle, so you can fondly recall when you were a man behaving as a man, or at least living as one. What? But nobody explains why either one of them want the balls.
I think it's a pride thing.
Yeah, I'll tell you what.
I really think that.
Yeah,
they were
that's
in
a
love.
pride
They were
thing.
together, and it was a
in love. Yeah,
bad break, and he was with her. Him.
Yeah.
Now her through the surgery.
No, it's not now her. It's still him.
They were together during the surgery.
Yeah.
And they wanted to keep the testicles.
Maybe they
I
could.
just didn't
It
think
should.
that was
It should be like the Stanley Cup.
is?
Everybody gets a turn. Everybody gets a couple of weeks with the balls.
But if you read this affidavit, I mean, it literally says that the testicles are in a mason jar next to the eggs in the refrigerator.
Well,
wouldn't you separate?
You categorize them by shape. So
keep eggs away from that just in case you're drunk one night and you think I'm going to have a hard-boiled egg and you actually accidentally eat a testicle.
well, I would
it
think
could happen.
I would think if you tried to peel it, you would notice the difference in texture. I don't know.
What
It's
is
not happened to me. But
wrong?
Why would you keep them under stowed away? Why wouldn't you have like on a mantle? It's like funny story about that piece.
Or you
That's a
could get 'em,
conversation starter.
you could bronze them and hang them on a Christmas tree, or they could be door knockers.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking out loud. Or that stuff people put on the back of their flatbed trucks, the hitch.
Literally this time instead of the rubberized ones. Yeah.
I laugh every time I see that.
Could be
Cracks me up.
mistletoe.
Yeah. Oh, right.
Something.
I have to repurpose these testicles, Dan.
Well, I think it's just there's enough balls to go around. You just have to share.
And Mike Scott's telling me it is legal to take body parts because that might be a state law thing.
Yes,
In Illinois,
there
you
are.
can't, but Michigan.
It is not a federal law. You can
Okay.
you can take them. 3 states that I've seen have
Where you could take your
denied:
body parts.
Louisiana, Mississippi, one other state.
Rom keeps his half a finger that he lost at Arby's in a refrigerator next to the hard-boiled eggs too. He's allowed to
Well,
do
the
that.
real answer, Dan, is to your first question, why Dan Proft is single is, well, did he caddy at the Western Open?
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, that's too soon.
Yeah.
Like, really.
So raw.
It's just.
Arnie on 355.
Yeah, guys, I was just thinking the judge should give them one ball each because they're both half nuts.
Thanks for the call.
You know what? It'll solve the problem.
Very Solomonic, Arnie.
This has never happened
55.
before, by the way, in Pontiac, Michigan.
That's never happened in Pontiac. Does it happen anywhere else?
I don't know.
This is a whole new area for the trial lawyers. This would be sort of fitting, actually, for that profession. Matt, Southside.
Hey, good morning. I was just finding it ironic. Amy mentioned that perhaps he wanted to keep those balls for pride.
Yeah.
I don't believe anybody would even have pride after they got their balls cut off.
Yeah, I think pride is the first thing that goes
Well, they
once
might
you
be
have your
really
balls
big
in a jar.
balls. I mean, who knows?
Well, size doesn't matter.
Okay, Dan. Text message: hang balls from the rear view mirror in your car.
Mm-hmm. We can always, every time you look at traffic behind you, you can think of him. Or if they're yours, what you used to have.
This is a good text message. Ram keeps his half finger next to his wife's wedding dress just in case.
For established residency,
Yes.
that's right. Drew and Dave, in Barrington.
I'm just wondering, sitting in a mason jar, wondering if there's maybe a little garlic and dill in there.
Oh, God. Got another text message.
It's a delicacy.
Dan and Amy, it's been so long since mine have seen any action that they can repurpose as a rosin bag in baseball.
Rosin bag.
Rosin bag, I'm sorry. Rosin bag. Did I just say rosin?
You said rosin bag, yeah.
I need my glasses.
Well, this is, I wanted to squeeze this in, if I may, and it's sort of appropriate.
Uh-huh.
It turns out, and this is interesting too, with the ball situation, not to mention
very
the dying
serious.
wife.
Yes.
There are 3 types of masculinity.
Mm-hmm.
Are you ready to hear them?
Yeah.
This comes to us from experts, top men.
Top men of science.
At the University of British Columbia. They did in-depth interviews with 92 allegedly heterosexual men aged 19 to 43 from 14 different countries to determine how they navigated partnerships as gender roles continue to transform. You mean as men continue to get feminized, but that's not what they said. The 3 masculinity types, which one are you? The first way you can tell is whether or not you have your balls on you or in a jar. But the first masculinity type is the neo-traditionalist. Traditional gender roles being the provider and the protector.
Okay.
The second is the egalitarian. That involves a man seeking a more equal partnership with emphasis on mutually and measurable give and take. That means he's unemployed. The third is the progressive. Oh
boy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The beta male. This is the man who works on building gender equity in the partnership through regular, purposeful conversations with their partner to adjust who does what.
Okay.
The third category, that's not a man you're dating, it's chick. I didn't know how to break it to you. Yeah. But here's the scary thing. All of you ladies, most of you, a super majority of you, maybe you know it, maybe you don't, are in relationships with egalitarians and progressives. In other words, the unemployed and females. Only 24% of the men in the study were categorized as neo-traditionalists, meaning actual men. 1 in 4 were actual men. The other 3, the 3 and 4, unemployed, shiftless, and women. That's where things are at. But it's your fault. It's the lady's fault because this is what you've done to men, and this is what you, I guess,
Feminism
find
gone
appealing.
awry, right?
Well, this is what you find appealing. 75% of the men out there are, I'm sure, most of them are attached in some way, even if their balls are not. All right, quickly to spin out of this and get back to golf. Kevin, are you on a golf course right now?
No, that was actually months ago when we talked.
Oh.
But I had a question for you regarding caddying.
Uh-huh.
I also caddied at Bryn Mawr Country Club, and when I caddied, I actually caddied for quite a few famous people. I was wondering who, if any, famous people you've caddied for, And the follow-up would be, what are your top 5 public golf courses in the Chicagoland area?
Thanks for the call, Kevin. These are great questions for a neo-traditionalist man to answer.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I mentioned in terms of celebrities, well, I caddied for the ultimate, Jordan.
Right.
Can't top that. But a lot of Blackhawks, several tour pros. Ben Crenshaw, who's an out-of-town member of Chicago Golf, I got to caddy for him, so that was a treat because obviously he's a Hall of Famer and a great course designer. Did I caddy for any other, like, actors or... I don't know. I have to think about that. Mostly athletes, I would say. I can't think of any other big celebrities. And, I don't like CEOs and stuff. They're not really celebrities. Or at least they weren't back when I was getting. Top 5 public courses in Chicagoland.
Chicago Golf, right?
Chicago Golf's not public.
Oh, sorry. That's right.
Yeah.
Pay attention, Jacobs. What?
I would say Harborside.
Oh, yes. Love Harborside.
Some of these, like, they should be, but they're not being maintained the way they should be. So, for example, Cantini should be, but it's not being maintained the way it should be. Oh. So, I mean, it's a top 5 course in terms of design, but you have to maintain the course. It's a great track in terms of layout.
What?
It's always a maintenance issue again here. George Dunn.
Oh.
That's a good track.
Yeah.
I'm sure what's the one up in McHenry County? Stonewall Orchard? That's public, isn't it? I think so. I think that would be on my list. Maybe not top 5. Top 5 public tracks. I'm sure I'm missing so many. I just don't play many public tracks anymore.
No, you're an Olympia Fields guy. True.
I'm going to think more about that question because I'm not happy with my answer. So I'm going to do some investigating while Mike Scott gives us the news and get back to you.
7:31 on AM 560, The Answer. We're watching storms roll through the area and lightning and some hail also moving through. A Texas deputy is in critical but stable condition after being shot during a traffic stop Wednesday night. It happened near Houston. Investigators are looking for suspects. Authorities say heavy rain in parts of Germany caused major flooding, leading to flight cancellations at Frankfurt Airport, the country's busiest and a major European hub. Days of relentless rain in India's Himalayan region have killed 72. Rescue and relief efforts continuing in Hawaii after the deadly wildfires there.
Could go up according to officials. Highway into the historic town that has been devastated where all the deaths have occurred is now open, though no one can get into the actual town at this point because they're still searching for the remains of humans. Every single road has National Guard or other people that are blocking off those areas, but that main highway, at least, you can get in. Cell service is spotty, and there's just not a lot of activity at this point.
That, of course, is Robert Ray from Fox Weather, who's reporting live this morning from Maui. Target has seen a drop in sales after the backlash over its Pride Month merchandise. That fell over 5% in the second quarter, customers buying less in many discretionary categories. Here locally, a man has died after being found unresponsive with multiple gunshot wounds on the city's west side. Police tell us he was transported to Mount Sinai Hospital in critical condition, where he later died. Allegations of misconduct against a former suburban OBGYN continue to pile up. Now a total of 53 women have come forward to file civil suits against Vernon Cannon, who formerly practiced in DuPage County.
What medical personnel would be taking off their shirt and showing their patients all their tattoos, where he would unbutton his shirt, took off his lab jacket, and proceeded to show me that he was fully tatted.
The claims first came to light in January. Dooley Healthcare, once known as DuPage Medical Group, vehemently denies that it knowingly allowed Dr. Cannon to engage in misconduct It says Cannon had not had any patient contact at the facility now known as Dooley since he departed the practice in 2020. A woman is dead, struck by a car in Evanston Tuesday night in the 1300 block of Central. Police continue to investigate. The PGA field is set in the suburbs. One final major event before the Tour Championship. Golfers teeing off today once the rain rolls through at Olympia Fields for the BMW. Cubs are in a split with their Southside friends, the White Sox, following a 4-3 win. The Cubs' victory at Wrigley was a walk-off thanks to a Christopher Morel 3-run home run to end the game. The news, a service of MyPillow. MyPillow employees want to thank you by giving you the lowest price in history on their MyPillows. Visit MyPillow.com. Use promo code LIBERTY. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Mike Gallagher wants everything on the table.
We better embrace every path that the Democrats embraced in 2020. Mail-in ballots, early voting, ballot harvesting, because guess what? They're beating us using those tools. And that's not going to change.
The Mike Gallagher Show, weekdays at 9, right before Dennis Prager at 11 on AM 560. The Answer.
It's time to wake up, Illinois. This is Shannon Adcock with Awake, Illinois. On June 5th, I had the pleasure of appearing on Fox Business's Evening Edit with Liz McDonald to discuss how Biden, Pritzker, and the Democrats are failing our kids. While Biden is ignoring the existence of a 7th grandchild, he isn't focused on America's kids either. He prefers to collude with the nation's teacher unions, a.k.a. the wicked cabals that are donors to leftist Democrat politicians. The Post-Millennial recently published how the NEA teacher union adopted an LGBTQ-centric amendment at a meeting earlier this month, and the price tag is $583,000. Documents reviewed by the Post-Millennial from the NEA meeting show that the new measure will further entrench groups like the trans-focused Human Rights Campaign, the trans-teen-focused Trevor Project, and the global trans group GLSEN into curriculum and policy. While literacy and math scores are the lowest they've been in decades, Lurie Children's Hospital and the various school-based sexuality clubs are working very hard to talk to your kids about puberty blockers, chest binders, and the pseudoscience that Europe has already canceled, known as gender-affirming care. Well, let us affirm this for you. This is a war on children, and we parents have had enough. To put your parental rights on record prior to the start of the school year, visit www.awakeil.com/forms. Also be sure to check out the Awake Americans Woke 101 event recording and toolkit available at awakeamericans.org. The time is now to defend your values. For Awake Illinois and Awake Americans, I'm Shannon Adcock, and we cannot be canceled.
My brother-in-law died suddenly, and now my sister and her kids have to sell their home. That's why I told my husband we could not put off getting life insurance any longer. An agent offered us a 10-year, $500,000 policy for nearly $50 a month. Then we called SelectQuote. SelectQuote found us identical coverage for only $19 a month, a savings of $369 a year.
Whether you need a $500,000 policy or a $5 million policy, SelectQuote could save you more than 50% on term life insurance. For your free quote, call SelectQuote at 1-800-940-6161. That's 1-800-940-6161. Or go to SelectQuote.com. That's 1-800-940-6161. SelectQuote. We shop, you save. Full details on example policies at selectquote.com/commercials.
The New York Times calls BritBox the best of British telly. Extreme Brilliant series you can only find on BritBox. Start a free trial at BritBox.com.
7:38 Team Hochberg Traffic Center time. Eden's inbound, a half hour Lake Cook Road to the junction as storms roll through. Kennedy inbound, 68 minutes, O'Hare to the Burns Circle interchange. Right now, the Ike at 50 minutes, 390 to the Old Post Office. Stevenson inbound, 47, 355 into DuSable Lakeshore Drive. Dan Ryan, 26 minutes and climbing from 95th into the Burns Circle interchange. You're jammed up in the Express beginning at 59th. Jane Addams, left turn lane of the exit ramp closed due to a crash on Roselle Road. That's Jane Addams, I-90 eastbound to Roselle as they continue to clean up that mess. Veterans jams up northbound at 71st all the way to the Reagan. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next. AM 560 Weather Center forecast. Heavy thunderstorms rolling through the area. Slow travel, and the rain will continue for about another hour or so. High of 78 later today. Clear and comfortably cool overnight. Low of 58. 70 at O'Hare. Next news at 8. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560 The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by IDT. Eliminate paper files with the IoT Smart Connected Scanning Device. Find them at ready4IDT.com.
Listen to AM 560 The Answer online at 560theanswer.com, on the AM 560 mobile app, on your Alexa-powered smart speaker, and on TuneIn, iHeart, and on Odyssey. Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson. If you're looking for the latest news, insight into what it means, and the sharpest opinion, there's only one station in Chicago where you can turn, and it's this one. We're AM 560, The Answer.
Dan and Amy, a lot of golf talk this morning. Close the loop on a couple things. I got a call about celebrities I've caddied for and top public courses in Chicagoland. This is a good caddy story, too, which we talked a bit about earlier in the show. Backdrop of the BMW this weekend at Olympia Fields. So one of the celebrities I caddied for at Chicago Golf growing up, Mike Ditka.
Oh, coach.
And fast forward, and a couple years ago, so for the last couple of years since I joined, I'm at the same club as a member with Mike Ditka in Florida.
Oh.
So how about that as a...
Coming full circle.
Yeah, yeah. All right, top public courses getting a lot of responses. I said Cantini, I said George Dunn, I said Stonewall Orchard, Cog Hill, a lot, Dubs. Yeah, of course, Dubs, but same thing as these other courses. It's not maintained like it should be anymore. I'm sorry to say. It's interesting. Chicagoland just doesn't have, think about the public golf courses in Wisconsin, our neighbors to the north there.
Gorgeous. And Minnesota?
Well, I mean, they're tournament quality. I'm talking about Erin Hills and Black Wolf Run, Whistling Straits, Sand Valley. These are all public courses you can get on.
Right.
And we don't have that quality here. It's sort of surprising because we have such great golf in Chicago.
Bull Valley.
Bull Valley's not public. It's private.
Oh, that's right. I just get on because I know somebody.
Correct. It seems like it's public because somebody pays for you to be there. So it seems like it's public here, but it's not.
It's
and
the
right.
gift that keeps giving.
Yeah, but
Pops and I,
The Village Links in Glen Ellen, where I played all the time growing up at that 18 course. That would be a pro tournament qualifier.
Waveland. For sure.
Yeah, no.
That 9-hole juggernaut gets you every time.
Got some other suggestions here. Admittedly, in a couple of the courses I haven't played, so I can't really comment. I've heard Shepherd's Crook in Zion is good, but I haven't played it. What do I? The Glen Club, yeah, in Glenview, that's a good public track. Maintenance is still an issue there, though. I got to tell you. Pine Meadow in Mundelein, that's a good track.
Okay.
So those are some, so those are, top 7 or 8 there. All right. We got to put the sticks away for a minute here and get on to some other business.
Big weekend. Yes.
John Podesta, he is the guy that was given, $300 or $400 billion to pass around to Biden friends who happen to be all of the sudden in the clean energy business, particularly in the EV business. And he was asked by our friend Phil Wegman from RealClearPolitics.com. How's that going? Your role as a venture capitalist with other people's money. We have Solyndra was the famous catastrophe during the Obama years when they were doing the same industrial policy. A EV company, EV bus company called Proterra, seems to be the Solyndra of Joe Obama term 3. Since 2004, it only delivered about 550 buses. And yet it raised $650 million in an IPO, more than 3 times its annual revenue. There were flashing red lights from the start, the Wall Street Journal reports. The company had a history of defective manufacturing, costly repairs, including cracked wheel wells in 2018. 2 years later, it discovered laminate cracks near bus door frames. The same year, it issued a recall related to a component that could compromise steering. That's a problem. You know what the solution to all that is? Make Jennifer Granholm a member of your board of directors.
Oh, there you go.
And before she was energy secretary, she was on the company's board of directors after serving as governor of Michigan. And lo and behold, the taxpayer dollars came flooding in, including from John Podesta. He was asked about that. He said, there's going to be some companies that don't work out, but hey, we're doing just as well as the private sector.
From day one, I asked that the inspectors general convene, and we've done that under the leadership of the Department of Interior Inspector General, to ensure that each of the grant programs and loan programs had the highest level of, they're independent, but had the highest level of input from the inspector generals to avoid chasing the horse when it's out of the barn, try to make sure that the program design kept the horses inside the barn. And I think with respect to the loan program, particularly our friends on the other side of the aisle like to talk about Solyndra. Overall, this is a very highly performing program. It returns $500 million to the Treasury, the loan program office at the Department of Energy. It has a 4% failure rate. They're going to be, if you're making loans to new technology industries, you're going to have some things that don't work. You can't have a 100% record, but 4% default rate against those loans is consistent with the highest levels of the private sector lending standards. So I think it's operating very well, and it's producing a lot of work for the American people.
Yeah. Who needs private sector private equity when you can have public sector public equity? Steve Moore, economist, author of GovZilla, joins us. Steve, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Hey, good morning, guys. By the way, I used to play that public course in Evanston. I don't know if you know which one I'm talking about.
Oh, the one by the hospital, the Goat Ranch?
Yeah, exactly.
That's Canal Shores now, and the Ricketts have taken over. They're redoing the course, Steve.
That's not a golf course.
It is a golf course. Yes,
it's not a golf course.
Yes, it is. They're redoing it.
Terrible.
Steve and Moore, next time you come in, we're going to go play 9.
Steve, we'll take you, if you're in Chicago, we'll take you to a real course that you don't have to defile yourself by playing Canal Shores.
Exactly. It was, I mean, you'd hit it over the canal, and the canal was just filled with garbage. And
Well, now the canal's
I haven't
blue.
been there in a few years. But anyway, that's my idea of an Illinois public golf course.
No, there's some are quite a little bit better than that, but anyway.
Yeah. By the way, I don't want to be a name dropper, but guess where I played golf yesterday, Dan?
Olympia Fields?
Bedminster.
Bedminster.
Oh.
Are you going to be there Monday for the big announcement?
I was there yesterday. And
did you play with Trump?
I did not, but we a bunch of us had dinner with him, and I asked the president, "What'd you shoot?" And he said, "A 68." And just between us, guys, okay? Just between us, Donald Trump is a really, really good golfer, okay?
68.
But and please
no
don't tell
chance.
him I said this.
No chance he shot 68. There's no chance he shot 68. The stories about him are legion. About, I mean, he's the only guy who gives himself chips. He forget putts. He gives himself chips. But anyway, that's fine.
Yeah. What were you saying,
He does
Steven?
hit the ball a long way. Anyway, I'm glad you brought this subject up about Solyndra and the green energy slush fund, because I want people to realize we're not talking about millions of dollars. We're not talking about billions of dollars. We're talking about trillions of dollars that John Podesta has control over. And it wasn't just Solyndra, by the way, under Obama. There were 2 pages long of failed green energy programs. One, Fisker, I could go down the list. almost when he says you don't bet 100%, yes, they do. Up 100% of them failed. And so here we are with these. Here's the thing: since the late 1970s, when Jimmy Carter was president, we have spent $2 trillion on green energy in this country, all with federal subsidy money. $2 trillion. In 1978, we got 6% of our energy from solar and wind power. Today, we get 7%. So all of this money has been a complete waste of money. And the only people who are getting rich off of this are the buddies of John Podesta. I mean, if you know John Podesta, you're going to make a lot of money because he's going to invest in your company. That's not the way that a free market system works, folks. It is a slush fund to big Democratic donors.
Well, even if Podesta was right, even if he was right that our failure rate is similar to the most successful private.
Not true.
Even if it was true, though. Even if it's true that it mirrors the most successful private equity firms in the world, not true, or in the country. It's not true. But even if it was true, so what? Well, then, if that's right, then why are you in the business? If you can't do better than the private sector, then why are we in the business?
Yeah. No, I mean, the fact is, I actually honestly believe. Oh, let me give you an example of how bad this is. So there's a company called First Solar, which is one of the ones that John Podesta has, quote, I'm using air quotes, invested in, because we didn't invest in it. The government took the money from us and then gave it to First Solar. Do you know how much money they're going to get in federal subsidies over the next 5 years?
How much?
One company, $10 billion. Not 10 million, 10 billion. Dan, you and I and Amy have to start a green energy program.
Yeah, well,
right.
Yeah, I know.
Well,
we got.
Yesterday was a 1-year anniversary of Bidenomics, which makes me laugh. And of course, the president was celebrating. I don't know what.
The Financial Times and the Wall Street Journal initially called my plan Bidenomics. I'm not sure they meant it in a totally complimentary way at the time. But guess what? It's working.
There's the Soto Voce. Oh, yeah.
It's working. The cost, are you ready for this? And people should listen up. 61% of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck, but it costs $709 more a month to live the way we lived before Biden was in office. We think about with the gas prices and the grocery bills. So I don't know what they're celebrating.
Yeah. So, Amy, I've been thinking about this because you and I have been talking about this week after week. So I want to invent something called the Amy Index.
Okay.
Okay. And you know what the Amy Index is going to be? The things that you have to buy every week or month. You have to pay your rent. You have to buy your groceries. You have to buy the Cheerios or what was it, Cocoa Krispies or something that you said you were buying.
Fruity Pebbles was $11.99.
Yeah.
Why? How old are you? Why are you buying Fruity Pebbles?
Well, I have boys. They're like
that are 20,
19, and 18. Yeah.
But here's my point. I was talking to my beloved wife, Ann, the other night, and she was saying exactly what Amy is saying. What the hell are they talking about? Inflation isn't 3 or 4%; it's 20%.
Yes.
Most grocery items are like double what they were 5 years ago.
Or triple.
And so we need to start the Amy Index, which is the things you have to buy. You have to pay your rent. You have to pay your utilities. You have to fill up your gas tank. You have to buy the Cocoa Krispies. You have to buy the ground beef. And those things are up not 3%, not 5%, not 10%, 15 or 20%. And that's why a lot of these people get angry at me, when I say, the inflation rate's 4%. They go, what the hell is Steve Moore talking about? The inflation rate isn't 4%. And so, Amy, let's get together and we're gonna start the Amy Index. And you tell me what you buy regularly, and we'll put those in the index, and we will circulate that throughout the country. Okay?
All right. We could put goldfish on the list too.
Things.
Well, a jug of goldfish is now $12.
Maybe we should talk
How the
about.
heck did that happen?
Maybe we should start talking about the things Amy's buying at the supermarket too. While we're at it.
Don't govern me at the grocery store,
right.
Dan.
All right. So there's potential other issues too. I don't know. We've been looking for some pullback as all of the funny money that was printed sloshes out throughout the system, and the Fed stops their asset purchases, continues to hike rates, and we have a market correction of sorts. Michael Burry he's the big short investor who made, $1 billion betting on the housing crash.
Mm-hmm.
He has put $1.6 billion on puts against the NASDAQ and the S&P. He expects, obviously, a market crash. Is he wrong?
God, one thing I cannot do is predict what the stock market is going to do, because if I could predict that, Dan, Amy, I would not be on your radio show right now.
Yeah, I know. I know, but I mean, he's like hammering the sell button, right?
I know he is. But, look, I have to say this, to be completely honest. The economy is right now at this moment is doing, a lot better. I mean, the latest forecast for the GDP growth for this quarter is like looking at 5%. So all of a sudden we're seeing this kind of spurt of growth, and I can't tell you why that's happening. I think it's mostly just all this government money that's being poured into the economy. Wall Street Journal had a pretty good editorial about that. I think it's today or in yesterday's paper. But you can't keep doing that. You can't keep stimulating quote. I mean, again, stimulate is their word, but most of the additional spending that's going on in the economy right now is due to all this money that the government is spending and borrowing. And I got to tell you, you can't keep doing that without expecting a crash. And so what I just don't know is when that's going to happen. But it's almost like a drug high. You get from taking cocaine. You feel really good, but guess what? You crash. And that's, I think, what's going to happen with this U.S. economy.
I don't know. I mean, the modern monetary theorists are feeling their oats now. It's like, you pour, but you can print all this money. Yeah, it does have a bit of an inflationary impact, but then you put the Fed on the job, raising rates, and then the inflation's down. The economy keeps clicking along. So Paul Krugman and the MMT boys are saying, we can turn the dials and pull the levers in such a way to keep everything clicking along nicely so that people are rather content. That's where we're at now.
Yeah, except that we have a $32 trillion debt. And
that's somebody else's problem.
Yeah, right. No, that's what they say. No, don't worry about that. We could just that's our grandkids' problem. Right? We don't have to worry about that now.
Well, all right. So we'll see if the reality check.
I'm not buying it. We got to get back to fiscal sanity, and we need the growth of the economy to come. In other words, we're growing the economy in all the wrong places. When we put John Podesta in charge of the U.S. economy, who's a political hack. I mean, John's a smart guy, but he doesn't know anything about business. He knows politics, and he's basically taking your and my money and Amy's money, and he's rolling the dice on it.
Well, right. But, it's just one of those things where you have half the country now, not only even when things are delivered to their front door, like higher prices for those goods and services they need on a rolling basis, it still doesn't matter. So, I mean, unless there is unless they get hit with an economic 2x4, it's just they're going to listen to that. Don't worry about $32 trillion. Don't worry about this. Don't worry about the money in. Don't worry about the interest rates. We got it all under control. Just put your life in our hands. No problem.
Yeah, and there's one person who's actually told the truth about the U.S. economy in the Biden administration. You know who that is?
What's the dog's name?
Kamala. She's the one who said last week the average American has $400 in the bank. $400, and she's right. The Americans don't have any savings right now. Amy, credit card debt went over $1 trillion last month. $1 trillion.
People are using credit cards at the grocery store. Oh.
Yeah, well, the government doesn't. Why can't I?
At some point, we're going to run out of plastic.
Mm-hmm. Steve Moore, economist, GovZilla author. Thanks, Steve. Appreciate it.
Okay, guys. Have a good one.
Thank you. And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
Hear about the big stories of the day, then talk about them right here on Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
I tell you, I get no respect. So I walk into a coin shop with silver bullion for sale when the owner says, "You look like you don't have two coins to rub together." I say to him, "Bullion." He orders me to quit cussing, tosses me out the door, and I land cheeks down on my 10-pound bullion bars. Ouch! My rear end is still black and blue.
You should have come to Fox Valley Coins, where we treat every customer with respect, buying or selling. Whether you're liquidating a collection to pay the rent or trading unwanted collectible coins, currency, and bullion for extra folding money, Fox Valley Coins is happy to see you. We also pay top dollar for scrap gold and sterling at Fox Valley Coins, the Midwest's premier coin company. Company. Open 6 days a week. One light north of I-88 on Route 59 at the Naperville-Warrenville border. Check us out at foxvalleycoins.com. Over 40 years of family-owned integrity. That's foxvalleycoins.com.
I'd get my butt down there, but the doctor warned me to take it easy for a week. Oh.
Hey, business owners, are you wondering how to grow your business? Do you need cash flow and a ready source for financing? Well, Signature Bank can help. Hi, Mike Gallagher here to let you know that Signature Bank's loan decisions are made locally by a team who knows your name, cares about your business, and is invested in your success. When you need advice about your business or even have a question, Signature Bank is there to help. There are no handoffs or call centers. This is a team that wants to get to know you and your business. That's why Signature Bank in Chicago is my bank. That's right. I'm a customer. When I call, someone picks up the phone on the other end. And with Signature Bank, I can securely bank anywhere, anytime. Reach out to my friends at Signature Bank. Call 773-467-5630. That's 773-467-5630, or visit them online at signaturebank.bank. Signaturebank.bank. Your business could be Signature Bank's next success story. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
AM 560, The Answer.
All right, coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Authors of a new book on Kabul, The Untold Story of Biden's Fiasco, 808.
Today it's going to be thunderstorms this morning, sunshine by this afternoon. It is now 8 a.m. WIND Chicago.
None of his trials should be before the 2024 election. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. Former President Trump just posted that on social media, again blaming radical left lunatics and thugs for interfering with the election. The day after the DA overseeing the fourth Trump indictment in Georgia proposed a March 4th trial date.
Fox News polling reveals 53% do, in fact, feel like Trump did something illegal. But at the same time, 51% of registered voters across the board feel as though the Justice Department's treatment of Trump is motivated by partisan politics.
Fox's Brooke Singman. The Fox News poll also has the former president way out in front in the Republican race at 53%, 37 points ahead of Ron DeSantis. Vivek Ramaswamy's third, 42 points back. There will be a Trump interview on Fox Business's Kudlow show at 4 p.m. Eastern today.
Inflation was caused, in my opinion, by energy, because it's so big. Energy is so big. It's like all-encompassing, everything.
It's up to 111 wildfire deaths in Hawaii, where Governor Josh Green says more crews will search the ashes around Lahaina for more remains.
They are adding a significant force on the ground, so they are now up to 30 dogs. They'll move to 40.
More than 1,000 people remain unaccounted for. There's an update on the 9/11 terror attacks mastermind still being held at the Guantanamo military prison. The Biden administration is considering plea agreements that could spare Khalid Sheikh Mohammed and 4 others from the death penalty. There's an update on an American the U.S. says is wrongfully jailed in Russia as an accused spy.
Secretary of State Antony Blinken reportedly talked with Paul Whelan by phone, encouraging him to keep the faith. The story, first reported by CNN, says Blinken told Whelan, quote, "We're doing everything we can to bring you home as soon as possible."
Fox's Ryan Schmelz. The U.S. is also demanding journalist Evan Gershkovich, also jailed in Russia, be set free. Just got an update on unemployment showing first-time jobless claims dropped slightly last week. America's listening to Fox News. Thunderstorms and heavy rain showers, even a little hail dropping on the area. 8:02 on AM 560, The Answer, and good morning. I'm Mike Scott. A man has died after being found unresponsive with multiple gunshot wounds on the city's west side. According to police, the man sustained the 6 gunshot wounds to the torso, was transported to Mount Sinai Hospital in critical condition, later pronounced dead. University of Chicago Medicine stepping up its security following a brawl that broke out in the ER over the weekend. More than a dozen people went inside the medical center Sunday night as shooting victims were being treated. The brawl began, prompting a lockdown, and 3 emergency department employees were hurt. An investigation continues after 2 men were shot outside of a funeral home on Chicago's South Side, and the owner of Leak & Sons is very upset.
See that name? That's my name on that building. And when things like that happen in front of my place, that affects my name.
Police say the shooting happened yesterday outside the funeral home on South Cottage Grove. Both victims remain hospitalized in critical condition. A Minnesota woman faces 7 years in prison for falsely applying for around $7 million in pandemic aid, a lot of that from the state of Illinois. 40-year-old Taquisha Solomon was sentenced this week. She asked for unemployment aid from Illinois, Minnesota, and California. She also submitted around 200 fraudulent aid claims for other people, charging each one of them $2,000. Solomon received in total $4.7 million from government entities. PGA Field is set in the suburbs for the BMW tees-off today at Olympia Fields. Cubs are in a split in their critical set with the White Sox following a 4-3 walk-off win at Wrigley Field. The news, a service of Salem Surround, a local digital marketing agency providing high-performing digital solutions to surround your target audience. 8:04, time for the AM 560 Business Beat, a service of Signature Bank. Visit signaturebank.bank for all your commercial banking needs. Now the latest from the Fox Business Network.
I'm Elizabeth McDonald, and this is the Fox Business Report.
Walmart shares are up nearly 2% after its better-than-expected quarter. Sales were up, and it's also raising its forecast for the business. Walmart also says it's in good shape with inventory. But Coach's parent company, Tapestry, saw a weaker-than-expected quarter. Its stock is lower. Tapestry is also in the process of buying Capri, Michael Kors' parent company. CVS shares are losing ground. The Wall Street Journal says Blue Shield of California will drop CVS Health's Caremark as its pharmacy benefit manager. It will use Amazon's home drug delivery service and the Mark Cuban Cost Plus drug company. The Journal says the Biden administration is accusing China, Germany, and Canada of selling metals at unfairly low prices, so it plans new tariffs. That's your Fox Business Report. I'm Ginny Cosola, invested in you.
The mainstream media wants to divide Americans into neat little groups, and they want you to believe that everyone in each one of those groups thinks alike. John Anthony is here to blow up that lie. Join him for Black and Right this Saturday afternoon at 4, when he provides a different perspective on what it means to be black and right. This Saturday afternoon at 4, right here on AM 560. The Answer.
You've heard me tout the goodness that is 120 Life. It has so many benefits that I can't stop talking about. It's my go-to juice. I drink it every day, help keep my blood pressure in check, and I feel better drinking it. It's packed with natural ingredients that have amazing health benefits like pomegranate, hibiscus, and cherry. 120 Life tastes good, and it feels good, especially when you pour it over ice. It comes in a convenient 8-ounce bottle that makes it easy to take on the go, as well as the new powdered drink mix with only 1 gram of sugar and 5 calories. Go to 120life.com. That's 120life.com. Use coupon code LIBERTY. Save 15% off plus free shipping. And you can earn customer rewards points with every order. Points that you can collect and redeem for product discounts up to $50. Check it out at 120life.com. That's 120life.com. Make it easy to manage your high blood pressure. Try it today. Order now, 120life.com, and use coupon code LIBERTY. Save 15%. 120life.com. 120 Life. I love this stuff.
All right, this just in. Pure Talk just added more 5G data to every plan and is now including a mobile hotspot with no price increase at all whatsoever. Just $20 a month for unlimited talk, unlimited text, and now 50% more 5G data, plus you get mobile hotspot. Start saving today. Go to puretalk.com, enter the promo code Sean, SEAN, to make the switch to Pure Talk, and you do it now, you'll save an additional 50% off your first month. That's puretalk.com, promo code Sean.
Hi, I'm Martha Stewart. Every year, more than 4 million pets enter shelters here in the United States. My friends at American Humane have been helping animals since 1877. The goal is to ensure that pets have a safe shelter, especially during natural disasters. Adopting a shelter pet allows shelters to help more animals awaiting care. Please consider adopting today and take some time to learn more about American Humane's other work at americanhumane.org.
Don't let earache from swimmer's ear, clogged ears, or allergies ruin your day. Get fast, effective relief from the pain and itching with Hyland's Earache Drops, the #1 best-selling earache treatment for over 10 years. See why it's received thousands of 5-star reviews and was awarded Best Over-the-Counter Medicine and Health Product in Earache Relief by U.S. News and World Report. Find Hyland's Earache Drops in the eye and ear aisle at Walmart, Walgreens, CVS, Rite Aid, and Target. Claims based on traditional homeopathic practice, not accepted medical evidence, not FDA evaluated.
Born on America's darkest day of 9/11, the Tunnel to Towers Foundation has been supporting the heroes who risk life and limb in the line of duty ever since. Jersey City Police Detective Joseph Seals was shot and killed in the line of duty in 2019, days before Christmas. He left behind his wife and 5 children. Tunnel to Towers immediately paid off their mortgage thanks to your generosity. Donate $11 a month to Tunnel to Towers at T2T.org. That's T2T.org.
It is 8:09. Let's get an update on the roads. Team Hochberg traffic center time. All slow because of the heavy rain rolling through the area. The Edens now at about 40 minutes. Lake Cook Road into the junction. The Kennedy at an hour 12 from O'Hare into the Burns Circle interchange. Outbound, it's 1 solid hour back out to the big airport. 61 in, 390 to the old post office. Stevenson, it's an hour from 355 into DuSable Lakeshore Drive. Dan Ryan, 38, 95th into the Burns Circle interchange. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next. AM 560 Weather Center forecast with Steve Williams.
Could be a slow commute this morning. Clouds and sun. Heavy thunderstorm this morning. High today 78. Clear tonight, low 58. Sunny, hazy day tomorrow. Some haze coming from those distant wildfires. High tomorrow afternoon 79. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560. The Answer.
70 at O'Hare. Next news 8:30. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560. The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Unleash Your Wealth with Raj Shah. This Saturday morning at 7. Learn more at scwealthadvisors.com.
Listen to AM 560 The Answer online at 560theanswer.com, on the AM 560 mobile app, on your Alexa-powered smart speaker, and on TuneIn, iHeart, and on Odyssey. Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. There's a new book out on the catastrophic withdrawal from Afghanistan and the American soldiers who lost their lives at the bombing of the airport in Kabul. The book is called Kabul, The Untold Story of Biden's Fiasco and the American Warriors Who Fought to the End. Before we get to the authors, let's just refresh our collective recollection of what both parents of those killed in action at that airport had to say a couple of weeks ago, as well as soldiers who served, like Tyler Vargas, who's injured. This was Representative Darrell Issa's congressional hearing that brought parents to offer their perspective. Cheryl Rex is the mother of Lance Corporal Dylan Merola, who was killed at that airport.
When Joe Biden, our elected president, entered the room, when he approached me, his words to me were, my wife Jill and I know how you feel. We lost our son as well and brought him home in a flag-draped coffin. My heart started beating faster, and I started shaking, knowing that their son died from cancer and they were able to be by his side. Also wondering how someone could honestly, be so heartless to say he knew how I felt a little over 24 hours and learning of my son's death. After this encounter, I have never had any personal correspondence, nor has my son been honored or his name spoken by this commander-in-chief.
I mean, let that sink in. That is sickening. The
Staff
depths of their depravity.
Staff Sergeant Darren Hoover was killed on that day, and also the reporting on that. He was suffering mortal injuries. He was dying, and he was able to reach into his vest and get ammo to give to his fellow soldiers to, help them in the fight in the wake of that bombing.
And he put a tourniquet on himself, and he was still helping, directing, even with one limb, telling people, Afghans, how to get out. So,
hero to the end, Staff Sergeant Darren Hoover. Here's what his father had to say.
Do what our son did. Be a grown-ass man.
Talking to Biden.
Admit to your mistakes. Learn from them so that this doesn't happen ever again. You all need to resign immediately. Our sons and daughters have more integrity in their little toes than every one of them combined. You owe it to our families here today, to the other Gold and Silver Star families that have gone before, and most of all to the veterans who have given so much for this country so that we have the freedoms that we enjoy today. Thank you. Thank you.
One thing a lot of us learned during watching that testimony on Capitol Hill is that they could have stopped this bomber. There was no orders to take out the bomber before he detonated his vest. And Tyler Vargas is the one who let the world know what really happened.
On August 22nd, an improvised explosive device, IED, probe took place down the canal running along the perimeter of HKIA. This was ISIS or the Taliban performing an IED test run. We reported this to our chain of command. Around 2 a.m. on August 26th, Intel guys confirmed the suicide bomber in the vicinity of and nearing Abbey Gate, described as clean-shaven, brown-dressed, black vest, and traveling with an older companion. I asked the Intel guys why he wasn't apprehended sooner since we had a full description. I was told the asset could not be compromised.
Yeah, when Darren Hoover's father talked about resigning immediately, he was not limiting that to Joe Biden. He's talking about the military brass. He's talking about the General Milley's and Secretary Austins of the world. For more on all this, we're pleased to be joined by Jerry Dunleavy, investigative reporters focused on the Justice Department, the courts, the intel community, and national security arena at the Washington Examiner. And with Jerry Dunleavy is James Hassan, former Army captain, graduate of Army Ranger School, and Afghan veteran who received the Bronze Star. Gentlemen, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having us. Thank you very much.
Well, why don't we start with what Tyler Vargas had to say? There was an opportunity to take out the parties responsible for the bombing of the airport, and we failed to do that. Can you give us more context to that?
Absolutely. So Sergeant Tyler Vargas Andrews testified in front of the House Foreign Affairs Committee earlier this year, actually a committee that I very recently joined to help lead the Afghanistan withdrawal investigation. And he testified that the U.S. was receiving intelligence about an impending ISIS-K attack at Abbey Gate that day, August 26th, and that they were given a detailed description of the suicide bomber. He testified that he believed that he and his Marine sniper team had identified a person perfectly matching the description of the bomber in the crowd, and that they asked their commanding officer, Lieutenant Colonel Brad Whited, for permission to take the shot. And their commanding officer told them that he did not have permission to give them permission to take the shot. And they asked him, well, who does? And they never got a response back from him, according to his testimony. The bomber then disappeared into the crowd. And of course, unfortunately, 13 Americans and nearly 200 Afghans then lost their lives, and Tyler himself lost 2 of his limbs in the blast. And something that we unearthed in our book that goes to this is we scoured thousands of pages of Pentagon documents, and in there is testimony from military officer on the ground who said that U.S. intelligence knew that ISIS-K was staging in a hotel about 1.5 miles west of Kabul airport ahead of this bombing, and that the U.S. military asked the Taliban to assault that ISIS-K location, but that the Taliban never did. Other Pentagon sworn testimony that we unearthed also showed that request was made to conduct a U.S. airstrike against an ISIS-K location in Afghanistan, again, before the Abbey Gate bombing. But that, according to this testimony, this sworn testimony, the request for a strike was denied because it was deemed infeasible by military leaders because of a negative response from the Taliban. So there were a lot of.
I mean, if you can't trust the Taliban, I mean, who can you trust, right? Well, why are we outsourcing? How does that make sense to outsource something like that to a terrorist organization that we spent 20 years deposing and trying to keep out of power in Afghanistan?
Dan, this is James. To echo your point, it makes absolutely no sense. And one thing that really drives home just how absurd this idea that the Taliban was, quote, businesslike and professional, which is how the Biden administration would describe them throughout the evacuation. In Kabul, we point out that the suicide bomber, a man whose name was Abdul Rahman al-Waghari, was in prison at Bagram Air Base. He was at a prison at Bagram Air Base when the Biden administration decided to abandon that facility. And the Taliban came, and when they took it over, the very first thing that they did was release all of the prisoners, including the ISIS-K bomber, who, 9 days later, ended up at Abbey Gate. So this is just a complete dereliction of duty all the way down. It was foreseeable, it was preventable, and ultimately it was deadly.
But yet President Biden declared victory. I mean, he said it was a successful withdrawal.
Go ahead, Jay.
Yeah, so here's what we point out in our book. I mean, the efforts by the troops on the ground were truly heroic, and they really did. I mean, under unbelievable circumstances, with the Taliban outside the gates beating people, turning Americans away, beating Afghans, killing Afghans in front of them, an impossible situation, ISIS-K roaming, trying to kill Americans and ultimately killing Americans. Despite this insanity, the American troops there on the ground did do heroic work, and the private outside veteran-led groups that were helping also did incredible work. And we did get a lot of Americans and a lot of our Afghan allies out. But because of President Biden's decisions and because of President Biden's broken promises, we did leave many hundreds, well over 1,000 Americans behind, trapped behind enemy lines, and tens of thousands of Afghan allies left behind. And this is because the Biden administration and ultimately President Joe Biden made a decision that was not based in reality. He refused to look at what the facts were on the ground, and they did no planning to prepare for any of this. And ultimately what happened was Americans left behind, Afghan allies left behind, the U.S. military having to rely on the Taliban because they now controlled not just all of Kabul, but the entire country. And obviously it was deadly because Americans died, dozens of Americans wounded as well. As we try to stress, Tyler Vargas Andrews lost 2 of his limbs. Another female service member is paralyzed. And so this was chaotic. It was deadly. Any successes that there were because of the hard work of the U.S. troops on the ground, and were despite the ridiculous foolishness of the Biden administration.
So you had at least 2 chances. If you had kept this known terrorist in a cage, then the bombing wouldn't have happened at the airport. If you would have had the American military provide the response to the intel rather than relying on Taliban terrorists, then you could have prevented the bombing at the airport where, again, 13 dead, as you said, others catastrophically injured, and that doesn't even include another couple hundred Afghan civilians whose lives are important as well. And the response, I mean, the sort of accountability up and down the chain of command is what? Just what we've been treated to publicly? Is there anything going on behind the scenes where there is something approximating accountability for what occurred?
No, there isn't, and the administration has absolutely no desire to hold itself accountable or to hold anyone else accountable. I mean, the reason why Secretary Lloyd Austin is still in his job as Secretary of Defense is because that would require the administration to admit that this wasn't a, quote, success. It was a massive failure on their part. And we wrote Kabul, our book, to hold them accountable because they're clearly not going to do it themselves.
And now, in addition to all that, I guess papering over what occurred, to date, since that attack and those deaths occurred, they've gotten $2.5 billion in our money. We're continuing to essentially aid the Taliban regime. I know the money technically goes to NGOs, but they go to NGOs in a totalitarian society ruled by terrorists. So we're funding the Taliban.
We detail this in depth in our book Kabul, and I just encourage everyone to read our book, to buy it, because the money that is flowing from U.S. taxpayers to the tune of billions of dollars. How it works is the U.S. is sending that money to the UN, and then the UN is sending it to NGOs for humanitarian purposes. And look, it is a terrible humanitarian situation in Afghanistan. The Taliban does not know how to rule a country and, feed its people. It's a desperate and terrible situation. If you're a woman, of course, but really if you're anyone. But any money that is flowing into Afghanistan, the Taliban is taking a piece of it and taking a cut of it. And the Afghan Inspector General made it very clear recently that the U.S. is essentially helping fund the Taliban simply because the Taliban diverts money and puts it in their own coffers. And it's worth pointing out that the State Department under President Biden and USAID are refusing to answer questions about any of this and to provide information about this, because it's just another piece of their failure. It's another result of this terrible decision by President Joe Biden, this total act of planning. The Taliban is now in charge, and money that flows in Afghanistan is going to end up in the hands of the Taliban, and the Taliban is spending that money on building up its military to continue to control and oppress Afghanistan. And it's also paying money to Al-Qaeda, which, despite President Biden's claims, is still present in Afghanistan, being funded by the Taliban, running training camps, and even some members of the Taliban government are considered to be dual-hatted members of Al-Qaeda as well.
It's nice. I mean, we need to send them money so that they can refurbish all that military equipment we left behind for them to use. It's really astonishing. One thing that you mentioned that I wanted to get more perspective on, and this has been something actually that was Hollywoodized, and I think this has drawn some attention to it, and I'm glad it has. So obviously, the loss of American lives is first and foremost, but stories like the fictional story that was told in the movie The Covenant with Jake Gyllenhaal about our failure to keep our covenants with Afghan translators, Afghani citizens who served with American soldiers, helped American soldiers to do their jobs in Afghanistan. And we know there was a failure initially, and we know Americans were behind enemy lines, and we know Afghan allies were behind enemy lines. Where does that stand today in terms of Americans who want to get out that can't get out, as well as Afghan families who worked for us under the promise that we would get them out, and we didn't? Where does that stand?
Right now, there are still many Americans left behind in Afghanistan, stranded in Afghanistan. We know there are Americans who are currently being held hostage by the Taliban. And of course, to say nothing, as you mentioned, of the tens of thousands of Afghans who served alongside of us in exchange for our promise that we would take care of them at the end and bring them to the United States. You mentioned the Covenant. We go into some of those ongoing efforts to rescue Americans and to rescue Afghan allies in our book Kabul. And I don't think Hollywood even does justice to the types of lengths that they are going to make sure that we keep our promises.
But you said American hostages. I mean, do we know names? It would seem to me that this should be profiled, right? And parents should be speaking out and so forth.
Well, so, it's a tricky situation, right, for the parents and families of these Americans being held hostage because the Taliban is a unpredictable and vicious regime.
Yeah.
We know that some Americans are currently being held hostage, basically because of the U.S. airstrike that killed Al-Qaeda leader Ayman al-Zawahiri last year. Which, of course, is another sign that al-Qaeda is obviously present in Afghanistan. If Osama bin Laden's right-hand man headed to Kabul after the Taliban took over, but the Taliban responded by taking some Americans hostage in response to that, showing that, look, the Taliban's response to an al-Qaeda leader getting killed is to take Americans hostage. Doesn't really sound like they are opposed to terrorism or opposed to Al-Qaeda.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's fascinating and disturbing at the same time, but some questions should be asked about that. Obviously, you want to be sensible and take direction from people who know about how best to extract Americans who are being held hostage. But, I mean, this is a story that's getting no attention. Stunning. All right, so this is why you have to buy the book Kabul. Kabul, The Untold Story of Biden's Fiasco and the American Warriors Who Fought to the End. The authors of the book Kabul, Jerry Dunleavy, investigative reporter at the Washington Examiner. James Hassan, former Army captain, graduate of U.S. Army Ranger School, an Afghan veteran who received the Bronze Star serving our country. Jerry and James, thanks so much for joining us, and best of luck with the book. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for having it.
Yep, thank you both. And they joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
You're listening to Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
There are more than 50 million people enslaved in the world today. Most of them are women and children.
They lock you in cellars or in rooms with no windows. 95% of girls that are born in the brothels remain trapped in the brothels for the rest of their lives.
SOS International is working to make freedom possible for these women and kids. And with your help, today can be the day another victim comes into freedom.
By the hundreds, we are saving those girls and bringing them to a secure place, a place that is a safe home for them to grow in.
Just $150 makes freedom possible for a trafficking victim. It provides shelter, food, counseling, everything they need to start a new life. Make freedom possible now. Visit 560theanswer.com/SOS. Every day that goes by is another day of suffering and abuse. But you can change it now. You can make today the day of freedom and rescue. Learn how you can bring freedom now at 560theanswer.com/SOS.
Hey everybody, Charlie Kirk here. Freedom Square is an unbelievable service designed to unite freedom-loving Americans. I know these guys. They love their country and they're doing an amazing job. You can log on now to create your free personalized dashboard. All of your favorite news sites, podcasters, all on one site, all at your fingertips. Sign up your business right now at freedomsquare.com and start connecting with freedom-loving Americans. Look, people want businesses they can support. You want to know the good guys from the bad guys. That's freedomsquare.com. Log on right now and create your personalized dashboard. Join us in the fight, so check it out. freedomsquare.com. Freedom lives here.
Let's welcome our new Freedom Square Business Network members. Illinois Sports Medicine, Joe Cotton Ford, Frederick Douglass Foundation, and Mr. Landman. It's time to unite and vote with your dollars. Download the Freedom Square app and register your business right now at freedomsquare.com and start connecting with patriots. Freedom Square. Freedom lives here.
AM 560. The Answer.
All right, coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Scott McKay, publisher of The Hayride at 8:38.
But now let's head into the newsroom first. Here is Mike Scott.
70 degrees, storms passing through the area at 8:32. At least 111 confirmed dead now in what has become the deadliest wildfire in modern U.S. history in Maui.
We're going to continue to limit access in the impact zone for now because there is, again, like I said earlier, some toxins that we worry about, and we're going to rapidly go through that area.
Hawaiian Governor Josh Green. The Georgia District Attorney prosecuting former President Donald Trump is proposing the trial begin March 4th of next year. And this morning, former President Trump is apparently being urged by his legal team to cancel a planned news conference for Monday. ABC News citing multiple sources inside of the Trump administration that is running his re-election campaign, saying that, of course, the president had promised to present evidence that he said would exonerate him of criminal conspiracy charges in Georgia. But the legal team, again, continues to urge the former president to cancel that press conference. Here in Chicago, a man is dead, found unresponsive with multiple gunshot wounds on the city's west side. He was transported to Mount Sinai Hospital in critical condition and later pronounced dead. A district judge is tossing out several lawsuits challenging Illinois' assault weapons ban. The toss-out follows a decision by the state's high court last week that the ban doesn't violate the state constitution. That law bans the sale of some sport rifles and higher capacity magazines in the state. PGA in the suburbs, and they'll try to get the BMW early rounds in this morning in spite of the rain. Lucas Glover aiming for his third straight victory. Cubs are in a split with the White Sox with a 4-3 ninth-inning victory. Christopher Morel blasting a 3-run home run to win it for the Northsiders. The news service of Fox Valley Coins, currently buying all gold and silver bars, coins, silver dollars, rare, date, proof, and mint sets. Visit foxvalleycoins.com. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Dennis Prager says we're no better.
If a right-wing government had done this to the left-wing leader of the opposition in a South American country, we would have said, of course, what do you expect? It's a banana republic. That's what we are becoming as well. Corrupt like so many of the other governments have been in the Western Hemisphere.
The Dennis Prager Show, weekdays at 11, right before Charlie Kirk at 1 on AM 560. The Answer.
Hey, everybody, Charlie Kirk here. Are you worried about investing in the stock market, especially with Joe Biden in office? Do you really trust the economy? What if you could invest in a secure, collateralized portfolio with a high fixed rate of return that's not correlated to the stock market or the Fed? A portfolio where you'll know what each monthly statement will look like with no surprises. Your interest is compounded daily. You're repaid monthly, and there are no fees. You can turn your income on or off, compound it, whatever you choose. And get this, there's absolutely no loss of principal if you ever need your money back. Just go to investrefy.com. That's invest, the letter Y, then refy.com, or call 888-YREFI, 888-YREFY24. You can earn a fixed rate of return or up to 10.25%. Just call 888-YREFY24 or go to investrefy.com and tell them Charlie Kirk sent you.
Balance of Nature's fruits and vegetables in a capsule, changing the world one life at a time.
I'm a very, very skeptical person, so I think even if it had started working sooner, I was like, no, it can't be just Balance of Nature. Till I finally gave in and said, you know what? I think it's the Balance of Nature. So somebody will say, oh, I noticed this, or you look really good today, or you know, such and such, and I go, I know, it's the Balance of Nature. I have fingernails that I've never had before. They're long and they're strong and they're wow.
Start your journey to better health with Balance of Nature. Call 1-800-246-8751 or go to balanceofnature.com to get 35% off your first preferred order with free shipping and our money back guarantee. That's 1-800-246-8751. Go to balanceofnature.com or call 1-800-246-8751 and get this special offer by using discount code Chicago.
Hun, we need to stop putting off getting life insurance.
I know. It's just been so busy, and I'm sure the cost is out of our budget.
Well, Jen told me that they got a $500,000 term life insurance policy from Ethos for less than $23 a month. all online with no complicated forms and no medical exam. All they had to do was answer a few health questions.
Wait, no medical exam and all online?
I know, right? It's not easy to think about, but if something happened to you, James and I would be...
Okay, I get it. Let's get a quote from Ethos right now. Wow, you were right. There's no medical exam, and Ethos makes the whole online process fast and easy. And look at these rates and coverage options. It's great protection and totally fits our budget.
Ethos. They've removed all the barriers from getting coverage. Go to checkethos.com to get your free online quote. That's checkethos.com. Quote based on a healthy, non-smoking 30-year-old male with a 20-year term policy. Rates may vary.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Get Down to Business with Shalom Klein, the show for business powered by Mirabali Insurance. Sunday evenings at 6.
8:38. Let's get an update on the roads. Team Hochberg Traffic Center time. A service of Blindster.com. Well, you may think custom blinds is a job for expensive pros. Well, at Blindster, if you have a tape measure and a screwdriver, you can install their blinds and save big. Plus, they guarantee they'll fit at Blindster.com. Edens 35, Lake Cook Road to the junction. Outbound Edens, due to an earlier accident, big jam between Montrose and Oakton. Kennedy inbound 79, O'Hare into the Burns Circle interchange, while the Stevenson sits at an hour, 3:55 into DuSable Lakeshore Drive. The Dan Ryan is 30 minutes from 95th into the Burns Circle interchange. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next. AM 560 Weather Center forecast. Heavy thunderstorms crossing the area right now. Later today, clouds and a little bit of sun, high 78. Clear, comfortably cool, 58 overnight. 70 right now. Next news at 9. And Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560 The Answer.
Listen to AM 560 The Answer online at 560theanswer.com, on the AM 560 mobile app, on your Alexa-powered smart speaker, and on TuneIn, iHeart, and on Odyssey. Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson. This is Chicago's Morning Answer.
You know, this show isn't for everybody. If you're not interested in the truth, if you're not interested in having a conversation on the merits, then don't listen to this show.
On AM 560.
Because there's no place for you here.
The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. So now that seemingly all the indictments are out of the way and we move to the pretrial motions and scheduling and politicking about the sum and substance, and as well as implications, electoral implications. Time for Ron DeSantis to figure out a way to change the dynamics in this race. Maybe difficult, but you got to try if you're going to be a candidate. And the debate that matters for Ron DeSantis, in my estimation, is not next Wednesday. The debate he has to get done, and it's languishing right now. They're arguing over format and whether or not to have a studio audience or not. Is
the fight in the Coliseum?
No, not Zuckerberg Musk. Is the Gavin Newsom debate?
Yeah,
that's where he needs to be. That's something different. It prevents an opportunity for him to be up against the Democrats, so he can focus on Democrats and compare and contrast the record in Florida with what happened in California and in every other deep blue state, including Illinois. Same policies, different policymakers. That's a moment. That could be a moment for DeSantis. I'm not saying it completely turns the tables on the race, but it's a moment to reposition and perhaps get some reconsideration. And again, depending on how Newsom performs, there might be some reconsideration and reexamination going on the other side, too. It's almost a which side will blink first and say we have to sideline the actual head of the party in Biden, or effectively the head of the party in Trump. Let's see what Scott McKay thinks about that. He joins us now, publisher of The Hayride, contributing editor at The American Spectator, and author of The Revivalist Manifesto. Scott McKay, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Good morning, Dan. Good morning, Amy.
Morning.
Hello.
DeSantis needs to have that square off with Newsom post haste, doesn't he?
Yeah, I think it would be a good idea for him to do that, if for no other reason than to kind of make the American people reset a little bit on the idea that, hey, when a Republican is running things and doing Republican things, you tend to get much better results than when Democrats run things and do Democrat things, which, is a debate that is absolutely not being had in the country right now with all these stupid indictments and everything else. But what I've come around to the idea of is, I don't think DeSantis should get out of the race. But right now, I mean, DeSantis' brand is essentially, look, I'm Trump 2.0. I can do the Trump things without sort of the stuff about Trump that makes you nervous. The problem is that with all of this stuff that they're throwing at Trump, there's no market for Trump 2.0 right now. Right? Like, people are loyal to Trump 1.0. And that just kind of puts DeSantis in a weird position, in that you're going to abandon the Trump 2.0 brand if you start attacking Trump on the basis of Trump's attacks on you and on the indictments and all this other kind of stuff. He's tried some of that. It hasn't worked. And it, probably shouldn't work, because the base Ron DeSantis voter is somebody who is a Trump voter, but is looking at DeSantis as, hey, you know what? Maybe this is somebody who can do all of our stuff without, meme tweets and all this other kind of deal. But what everybody's come around to the realization of is they're going to treat DeSantis just as bad as they treat Trump. And so the utility of a Trump 2.0 just right now isn't there. Now, you got 4 different court cases, and I don't think anybody should make any assumptions about 2024, not on the Republican side or the Democrat side for that matter. And so if you're DeSantis, what you're really doing is you're putting yourself out there as sort of the backup quarterback in 24, with the idea that the starter might actually take a cheap shot to his knee before it's done. And then, certainly put yourself in a position that you are the guy in 2028. And debating Newsom, I think, gets you, at least a couple first downs along that line.
Mm-hmm. There's the old boxing adage that styles make fights. And I think what you're seeing, almost even without the indictments, is that Ron DeSantis' style, I mean, as much as I like him, is just a bad matchup for Trump on the landscape which we're all operating on now. I mean, if it was Oliver Anthony as the governor of Florida challenging Trump, the guy who got this hit song, The Rich Men North of Richmond, if it was him, then maybe you have a real fight. But Ron DeSantis, sort of the room temperature, put together executive who lays out arguments and has details and is sort of dispassionate about implementing the things he said he would do. It just doesn't have the same appeal to this electorate.
Well, and I don't know that it. And I mean, I've been more of a DeSantis guy than a Trump guy, kind of throughout this process. Even though I think that whichever one carries the standard, that's the standard that the Republican Party has to have going forward. But I don't know that the moment is right for a competent executive who's kind of at least tries to be a no drama type of guy.
Right.
I mean, people think the country is dying before our very eyes. Okay, and I don't know that Trump totally stands out as the guy who'll fix it, but Trump is the guy that stands out as the fighter who will get as dirty as necessary to win. And that's sort of, at least on the right, that's the mood. I mean, they look at the indictments, they look at all of the stuff that's happened to, like, for example, Mark Houck, who was the sidewalk counselor in front of the abortion clinic, and for his trouble, somebody comes up and messes with his kid, so he shoves the guy, and next thing he knows, he's got an FBI SWAT team coming to his house. And everybody's looking at the House Republicans who are doing all these hearings, and they're screaming, do something. And the answer is, look, we're the House majority. There's nothing we can do beyond the oversight piece that we're doing. But everybody's kind of in a panic because, they see the country going to hell in a handbasket, and they don't really know how to stop it. And in that case, coming to a competent executive just doesn't seem like the right call. I mean, they're looking for somebody who's a warrior and a martyr if need be. And that's what Trump has done, positioning himself.
Now, do you think he should participate next Wednesday's debate or sit this one out?
I think he should participate because the thing of it is nobody's going to really beat Trump up in that debate. Because when he's sitting at 60% in the polls, attacking him makes you the worst rhino that ever existed. So, the idea that, I'm going to go debate and then they're not going to beat you up. What they may say is, I'll go even further than you did, which is an opportunity for Trump to say, you know what, you're right. My first term, we could have done these things. I know exactly what the problems are and we'll fix them going forward. And maybe I'll, Vivek, maybe I'll put you in the cabinet and you can work on this issue. He's got a great ability or opportunity, rather, to get in there and sort of be the big guy at the stage. And I think he's missing an opportunity there. I think the debates are worth watching anyway because these guys are all sort of the second tier of candidates. And, they're maybe representative of what Senate and gubernatorial candidates in 2024 will look like where the GOP is concerned. I mean, I can see Ramaswamy ended up running against Sherrod Brown in Ohio, for example, which would be phenomenal if it happened.
He also has like a perfect foil. Not that I think he's going to do it, but he also has a perfect foil at that debate in Chris Christie. The more that those two got into it, and the more that everybody else wanted to stay out of it, the more that redounds to the benefit of Trump because Christie gets isolated as the rhino on the stage.
Until Mike Pence opens his mouth.
Yeah, but
Pence again, Mike Pence is so boring.
Pence is not going to come at Trump like Christie does.
Well, right. I mean, Christie's going to come at Trump like he's an MSNBC guest, which he generally is.
Right.
He's going to be the guy everybody loves to hate. But the thing about it is because Chris Christie has so little charisma these days, some of the stuff he says about Trump, is actually factually correct, but nobody's interested in listening to it when it comes from Chris Christie's mouth. At least he's a persona on that stage and a point of view. It may not be a very popular one, but he can say some things that people can talk about after the fact. And then you got some of these other ones that really, they have nothing to say. So I don't know. I mean, if I was Trump, I'd go because he's going to stand out as the guy, and I think he's missing the opportunity to basically finish this thing off by going to a debate and just like, look, I'm your nominee, and maybe instead of 60%, he's at 70%, and then there really isn't anything they can say.
He is Scott McKay, publisher of The Hayride, contributing editor at The Spectator, and the author of the book, The Revivalist Manifesto. Scott, thanks as always.
See you guys. Have a great day.
Thanks, you too. And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
It's news, opinion, insight. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Folks, when shopping for a home mortgage, how much is great service, low closing costs, and competitive interest rates worth to you? At Townstone Financial, it's priceless. Hi, Barry Sterner, founder of Townstone Financial. Let's hear about the Townstone experience from one of our customers.
My name is Demi, and I did my first home purchase with Townstone Financial. The biggest difference between Townstone and the bigger banks that we went to was that at Townstone, Barry was really straightforward. He ran the numbers, and he made it happen. With the bigger banks, I feel like they kept giving me a runaround. We didn't have a lot of money in our checking and savings. Townstone Financial was the only bank that we reached out to that was able to find us a program that worked for us.
Remember, nobody values your home mortgage business more than Townstone. I guarantee it, and I own the company. So call me now, Barry Sterner, at 312-896-2110. That's 312-896-2110. Or go to townstone.com. That's TOWNSTONE.com.
Townstone Financial is licensed in Indiana, Michigan, Wisconsin, Florida. NMLS 136639. www.nmlsconsumeraccess.org. Equal housing lender.
Dan Proft here. Now's the best time to drive home in your next Mazda. During the season of Discovery sales events, you'll get the biggest savings on a new or pre-owned Mazda. And what you see is what you pay. With limited time sales going on right now, there's no better time to buy at Wilkins Mazda in Elmhurst. Lease a 2023 Mazda CX-30 for $249 a month, or a 2023 Mazda CX-5 for $399 a month. That's for 36 months with approved credit through Mazda Capital Services for qualified buyers. You just add the license, title, tax, and $324.24 dock fee. Plus, stop in today and ask about the all-new 2024 Mazda CX-90. And to keep your Mazda running great all year round, schedule your next service appointment online at WilkinsMazdaCars.com. That's WilkinsMazdaCars.com. Wilkins Mazda is conveniently located in Elmhurst off York Road and 290, just minutes from Oak Brook, downtown, and Schaumburg. Experience the next level of excellence at Wilkins Mazda in Elmhurst. Visit WilkinsMazdaCars.com and see dealer for details.
Attention, your money is now controlled by the U.S. government.
Picture a world where your every purchase is monitored, tracked, and controlled by those in power to suppress the freedoms of those they see fit. Hi, my name is Jason Hansen. I'm a former CIA officer and New York Times bestselling author. And right now, I've become very focused on the impending rollout of the central bank digital currency. This is not a work of fiction. It's a terrifying reality looming on the horizon. But there is a bit of good news. I've partnered with Advantage Gold to offer you a solution. They are specialists in converting your traditional assets, like those inside an IRA or 401k, into tangible assets such as physical gold and silver. Don't allow your money to be controlled. Claim your free gold protection kit from Advantage Gold. Call 800-900-8000, 800-900-8000. That's 800-900-8000.
Advantage Gold is not an investment advisor or a tax advisor.
Call 800-900-8000.
You can shed that fat, be slimmer for the summer. No more wearing cover-ups or T-shirts in the pool. NJ Diet will help you the natural way. There are no shots, no hormones, and no surgery. You'll lose a contractually guaranteed 20 to 40 plus pounds in only 40 days with NJ Diet. They use your hair, saliva, and blood work, along with bioenergetic scans to personalize natural solutions and supplements that gets your body into the fat-burning zone so you can finally lose that weight. Then NJ Diet uses DNA info to help you keep it off. Best of all, it's contractually guaranteed. You're fully supervised the entire time to make sure you're burning fat and not just losing water. And you even get Dr. T's personal email and phone number. Dr. T, Dr. Turovitz, he is the founder of NJ Diet. NJ Diet has locations close by in Skokie and Oak Brook, or is available from home with live online video consultations. Call 855-5-NJ-DIET or schedule your consult today at njdiet.com. That's njdiet.com.
If you are 65 or older, you know this. Watching your hard-earned dollars fly out the window on healthcare costs is so frustrating. But here's some great news. If you were just notified that your Medicare costs are increasing, a program out there can really help you with your medical bills, and it's worth taking a minute to look into. Medishare 65 Plus. It's not insurance. Members actually say it's better. It's a Christian healthcare community that aligns with your faith and where people encourage and pray for you. And Medishare 65 Plus is a low-cost option for those with Medicare Parts A and B, and it fills in the gaps where Medicare stops. You choose any Medicare provider, and you get telehealth access anytime you need it. And this is great too. Unlike health insurance, you can lock in one low monthly price for up to 10 years. So don't get stuck with increasing costs. Call Medishare 65 Plus and find out how much you can save. Call 855-PSALM-32. That's 855-PSALM-32. 855-PSALM-32.
All right. The storm has just passed. Still experiencing rain in other places. So how's your basement doing? How's your crawl space? Do you have to run down there and check on it to make sure it didn't flood? Well, you don't have to live like this. Call our good friends at Permaseal and they'll come over for a free inspection and tell you what needs to be done so that you don't have water in your basement or crawl space. You wouldn't settle with water in your bedroom or living room, then stop it. The number to call, 800-421-SEAL, 800-421-7325. You can rely on an honest, accurate, and that free evaluation from Permaseal's trained experts. 41 years in the business for a reason. Most trusted contractor. And they've earned an A-plus rating from the BBB. For a free, thorough inspection, call Permaseal, 800-421-SEAL. That's 800-421-7325. Or visit permaseal.net.
Dennis Prager here for the good folks at BestHotGrill.com. If you're tired of replacing your grill every couple of years, you'll want to check out the HotFast Solaire infrared grills from BestHotGrill.com. Solaire makes these amazing American grills that heat up to 1,000 degrees in just 3 minutes, eliminate flare-ups, and consistently make juicy, flavorful food. Solaire has been making infrared grills for 20 years and has really dialed in the design experience Solaire infrared firsthand with the Solaire Demo Rental Program. Use coupon code HOTDENNIS, all one word, for a $10 discount on your demo. That's HOTDENNIS at checkout for your 2-weekend trial where you can try Solaire before you buy with the foods your family enjoys without a salesman breathing down your neck, and see why Solaire is the last grill you will ever buy. Learn more at BestHotGrill.com. That's BestHotGrill.com. Try before you buy with the Solaire Demo Rental Program at BestHotGrill.com.
Lots of channels, nothing to watch, especially if you're looking outside of big corporate control. It's time to interrupt your regularly scheduled programs with something worth watching. The new Salem News Channel. Straightforward, unfiltered, in-depth insight and analysis from the greatest collection of conservative minds, all in one place. SNC is home to Dennis Prager, Mike Gallagher, Sebastian Gorka, and more. Watch anytime on any screen. Free 24/7. Find what you're looking for at snc.tv. AM 560, The Answer.
How about that? What do these three people have in common? Kathy Hart, Gary Meyer, and Vanna White.
They're all out of jobs?
Yeah, why?
I don't know.
They all...
Because they're the sidekicks of people? Or?
They all vastly overestimated their worth.
But Vanna White's going to come back, right? Isn't this just during contract negotiations?
Oh, is she? I don't know.
Oh, they threw the bathwater.
That's what they used to say about Kathy Hart and Gary Meyer, too.
Uh-oh.
Where are they now?
Check myself before I wreck myself.
Yeah, right.
Okay. Thanks for making us part of your morning. Thanks to Justin Kosick and Quinn McCarthy. We're back here tomorrow morning at 5 a.m. It is now 9 a.m. WIND Chicago.
He keeps calling it election interference. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. Former President Trump posted that